It was in this house that still stands in Winterset, Iowa, that a strapping baby boy was born May 26, 1907. He was named Marion Michael Morrison. He was to excel at every sport he tried and ultimately headed west. Hollywood took one look and said, "This is no Marion, this is John Wayne." Just a few miles from the Duke's birthplace, we bring you a band of outlaws even he approved of. Ask any sprint car racer. They'll all tell you. The center of their universe is this usually quiet community of Knoxville, Iowa. Population, 8,000. I say usually because once a year it explodes with people and machines to become the sprint car racing capital of the world. You see, Knoxville is the home of the Knoxville Nationals, the granddaddy of sprint car racing.
How did this quiet agricultural village become the mecca of sprint car mania? Well, it seems, first of all, that 8,000 inhabitants are rabid sprint car fans, and they've got the facility to go with their enthusiasm. It's called the Marion County Fairgrounds, an enormous grandstand that seats 15,000 people, elevated for a good view. Every seat has a back, and every seat is sold out and has been for months. The racetrack, well, some say it's covered with magic dirt. It's a huge, sweeping half mile with broad corners. The right driver and the right car can drive this track flat out, never once getting off the throttle, and it looks like we may have that kind of track tonight. As for the competition, well, here's Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, why do they call it the center of sprint car racing? Well, I guess you start with a great racetrack. And people in the business will tell you the half mile here at Knoxville is one of the greatest racing surfaces in the world. Tonight, on a beautiful warm night, it's attracted some of the greatest drivers in the business. Steve Kinzer, the winningest sprint car driver of them all. Just Swindell, Bobby Allen, and Steve Butler, the reigning USAC champion here at a brand new Gambler chassis, one of several dozen top race cars. But the best right now is Californian Jimmy Sills, who earlier in qualifying shattered the absolute track record here at Knoxville. And Steve talked with him.
You're looking at the quickest man in the history of this famed Knoxville, Iowa track, 16.2, Jimmy Sills. You might have heard the roar of the crowd over your engine. They went crazy.
My motor was running pretty loud. I couldn't hear any roar.
Have you ever seen this track any better than it is tonight?
No, I haven't. I thought last night was in pretty good shape, and tonight's just that much better.
Anything you do to the car when the track is this good? Can you back off on the wing a little bit? Can you save the car a little bit on a track this smooth?
Well, yeah, you can do a lot of. You can take the drag away from the car, and you just got to keep your speed up through the corner, you know, and keep the car real straight.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, Steve.
We're ready to go for the first heat of the night. 10 laps here at Knoxville on the half mile. The field is inverted, Steve Evans, and the two hot shoes in the back of the field, Jimmy Sills in the 14 car, right next to him, Ron Schumann, and right in front of them is Kelly Kinzer, one of the famed Indiana Kinzer family.
And to go directly to the main event tonight, Brock, they have to be in the top 4. If you're in the next 4, you go to the B main and start at the back. If you're in the last 2 positions, well, you don't go anywhere. And the green flag will be out. Starter Doug Clark. Yes, indeed, we have a start. And on the point, it's number 86, Tommy James, the blue and silver car from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Steve, Ronnie Schumann has made a sensational start down low in the 7R. The red car moves up into 4th place already from the back row.
Schumann knows this track very well. A past winner of the Knoxville Nationals. He moved from 9th right up into 4th position, and that is the final transfer point to the main event. So Schumann, if he can stay where he is now, is in good shape, but he wants more.
He sure does, Steve. He just moves past Galen Martin into the 3rd spot. Martin started on the outside of the front row, but can't hold off the charging Schumann. Schumann, of course, out of Tempe, Arizona, one of the finest dirt track drivers in the business, moving in on the 2 leaders. He's got a shot at Danny Lasowski in the number 49 car in the 2nd spot, and leading this continues to be Tommy James, with Lasowski challenging down low as Schumann moves in on the pair leading it, Steve.
Tommy James just riding that cushion out of the lead ahead of the 49 car, Lasowski. Now the battle back there for the 4th spot. There's the quickest driver of them all here tonight, Jimmy Sills from California, the 14 car. He is in the 5th spot right now. To transfer to the main event, he has got to move up 1 more position, and he's struggling trying to do that.
He sure is, Steve, and right in front of him is Kelly Kinzer as we watch Lasowski try. Tommy James down low, doesn't make it work. There's Kinzer in the blue and white 20 car, There's about 2 car lengths between him and Sills opportunity to transfer to the feature.
But what a race up front. Wing to wing. They sweep to these corners. That is Tommy James. Lasowski in the 49 car. The yellow machine tries it on the inside and cannot get enough momentum there. Scrubbed off a little too much speed, Brock.
Well, you can see, Steve, that there's a beautiful racing groove out there. In fact, a number of them. Lasowski riding low and Tommy James staying up high in a cushion, so you can run all over this beautiful half mile tonight.
And that is the reputation of this racetrack over the years. There again, the race for fourth. What a surprise, Brock. The 14 car, Jimmy Sills, is unable to get around the 20 machine of Kelly Kinzer. You would think with his qualifying time, he'd pick him off easily, but not so.
Right, hard to figure. As we watch the 2 leaders go at it, that is James in the 86 car, still holding off Lasowski in that yellow number 49. In fact, it looks to me, Steve, like Tommy's got a little bit more horsepower down the straightaway, and that's where his advantage lies.
Well, there we can see the interval from first all the way back to fifth, which is the 14 car of Jimmy Sills. But for Jimmy Sills right now, that distance seems impossible. He is unable to pick up that 4th position. There's the leaders. Tommy James, the 86 car, blue and white behind him, the bright yellow machine, Danny Lasowski. Comfortably in the 3rd spot is Ron Schumann. He'll transfer, but just hang on there. And we are going on to the last lap right now, and the battle up front is just tremendous between Tommy James and Danny Lasowski. Lasowski pulls right up on the nerve bars with Tommy James. Had to use a little brake, I think, there, Brock, to keep from having some contact. He doesn't want to take both of them out on the last lap, and it's going to be Tommy James winning heat number 1. But the big news is Kelly Kinzer, the 20 car, in 4th spot. He holds up Jimmy Sills. That is bad news for the Californian.
It sure is, Steve, because that means he has to run in what's called the B main.
Or as the old-timers still call it, the consolation race. Now, of course, there'll be no B main for Tommy James, car number 86. He moves on to the main feature, as does Danny Lasowski, car number 49, Ron Schumann, car number 7R, and also Kelly Kinzer. But right now, Brock is caught up with Tommy James in the pit.
Oh, Tommy James had kicked off the night in a big way. They were all over you, though, for the whole distance.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. I could hear them back there. I was just trying to drive as smooth as I could.
Secret of this racetrack is to keep it straight, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Race car hooked up real well?
Yeah. The crew did an excellent job getting it right.
You
At this point, anyway.
She's warm. You going to make any changes for the main?
I'm sure we will. We'll watch the track, discuss it between the bunch of us, and change what we think we should.
Well, good luck. Congratulations on a good victory.
Thank you very much.
Steve?
Right now it's time for heat number 2. Same format. There's 10 cars. The field is totally inverted, the quickest at the back. And speaking of quick, the defending Knoxville Nationals champion, Steve Kinzer, the winningest dirt track driver in the history of automobile racing, is in the back row because he's the quick guy, Brock.
He sure is, Steve, in that blue and silver number 11, bringing up the scratch spot, as they say, coming off turn number 4. And is the green out? Yes. We've got a green. We're underway here.
Fran Bruns, the 18F car, jumps out front, but take a look in the back. Steve Kinzer, the number 11 car, riding that cushion and wasting no time. Look at the wheel stand there, Brock, as he just pushes his way through.
Monster horsepower by Kinzer, 750 plus, they say. As he rides off the 4th turn, he'll move up into the 5th spot on the 1st lap, Steve.
Well, he's not about to get stuck in 5th position as Jimmy Sills did. Look at him here, taking a move on the 53 car. That is Paul Terrell, and look, Kinzer is by him already. In 1 lap, he has gone from 10th to 4th.
And moving in on the leader, Steve, you know, if he's got a good clean lap, he can run this racetrack flat out. He doesn't lift all the way around this relatively low banked half mile, and that means that car is really hooked up.
But up front, in number 1 spot, it's Fran Bruns, the 18F car, the white machine. Good battle for 2nd spot. The yellow car of TJ Giddings, number 47, trying to hang on to 2nd. 2 has the blue and white machine of Steve Siegel right there, giving him a little bump.
But there goes Kinzer way up on top, up against the cushion, and sweeps into the 2nd spot. In fact, he's going to challenge and take the lead. An incredible move on the outside as Kinzer blasts by all 3 cars down that back straightaway.
Well, Steve's uncle, Carl Kinzer, who builds the motors for this sprint car, has given his nephew an obvious horsepower advantage over anybody else here, Brock.
Well, Steve, they've been together for over a decade, and they are the most successful combination ever as we watch an incredible battle for 2nd spot. But, of course, Kinzer in the 11th car has disappeared and is on his way to an apparent victory. But right now, Steve Siegel has managed to move out a little bit on his rivals, Bronze and T.J. Giddings, to take a pretty good grip on that second spot, Steve.
Well, here comes Ronnie Daniels. He's in the 5th position and now moves into 4th as he gets around the yellow 47 of T.J. Giddings. Well, Daniels wants a little more cushion. He's trying to move up on the 3rd machine, the 18 of White Car Fran Bruns, and a beautiful pass on the inside. I'll tell you, Daniels is on the move.
Well, Steve, now the pressure is on Fran Bruns and T.J. Giddings because they're struggling for that 4th and final transfer spot. The 18 car of Bruns, and right behind him, the 47 car of T.J. Giddings. And right behind them is the 23 car of Greg Woolley, just kind of sitting back there. He can't challenge, but he's kind of hoping for a mistake by these two guys, Steve.
And that could happen, Brock. This is a great fight on the inside. Comes the 47 car of T.J. Giddings. And no, he is held at bay by Fran Bruns.
Bruns seems to be able to get off the corners a little better, but Giddings just buries it down into turn number 1, but can't quite ride through that corner high enough to get by Bruns. So Bruns, with a little bit of a horsepower advantage, seems to be able to hold off Giddings right now.
And as so often happens, the real story in these heat races, the middle of the pack, who is going to take that final transfer spot? We are on the last lap, and that race continues between Fran Bruns and the yellow car of T.J. Giddings. There is the winner, Steve Kinzer, who took the lead in just a couple of laps, even though he started last. And here is that race for 4th, making one last-ditch, desperate attempt to get around is T.J. Giddings, the 47 yellow machine. He's going to come up just a little bit short. Fran Bruns in the 18F car can finally take a deep breath. But it was the man in the number 11 car right there, Steve Kinzer, who showed everybody that he, again this year, is the man to beat here in the Knoxville Nationals action. One reason, of course, he's a great race car driver. Another reason is he's part of the Gambler team, and they have some interesting new components to work with.
When you mention the name Gambler around a racetrack like Knoxville, you think of basically full-blown race cars, but they build all kinds of interesting components for race cars as well, one of which is this brand new oil pump, which is mounted on the front of the engine here, driven off the cam drive. And I'm with Tom Sanders with Gambler. And Tom, what are the basic advantages of this over the old system that was belt-driven on an external pump?
Well, first of all, the pump itself, it creates about 25 more horsepower to these motors. And also, you have the belt drive system. You used to have to worry about the belts coming off. And if the belt come off, of course, you lose the motor right away. And one advantage to this thing is you can adjust the pressure. It scavenges better out of the motor. So it's just all around better deal.
The final results in heat number 2 here at Knoxville. Kinzer, Siegel, Daniels, and Bruns to the feature. Giddings doesn't make it. He'll run in the B main. And now let's go to Steve with Steve Kinzer.
Well, thank you, Brock. A marvelous drive by Steve Kinzer. You know, that first lap, they kind of pinched you high in turn number 1. Did you get in the wall a little bit there?
No, I was gonna. There was some slower cars on the front, so I thought if I get up in the cushion, I might get a run around them all on the outside, and I got all bottled up there. And the track was, I was afraid it might be just a touch greasy underneath the cushion there, so I just sort of played it cool, and I chopped back down and got into, I think, Woolley just a little bit. But after that, it felt not bad. We got a few little problems. I think we can get it straightened out, I hope.
Just a very good racetrack like we have tonight. Take a little advantage away from a skilled driver like yourself, or a driver with maybe not the experience. It's easier for him.
Well, the worst part about it is it's going to be hard to pass on. I know I was lucky enough then to get around everybody, but you starting the faster cars up toward the front where, you know, there's all got no traffic to get through, and they'll run a pretty good pace, so it'll make it hard to get by.
See you in the A main. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Well, Brock, already out on the racetrack, warming up for heat number 3, are 10 more drivers who would like to follow Steve Kinzer's example and move directly into the main feature race.
The top 4 will transfer to the A main. The next 4 in the finishing order will have to run in the B main or consolation.
Now, the toughest customer in this particular heat is starting dead last on the outside of the back row, number 1A, the blue car of Bobby Allen. They call him Scruffy from Hanover, Pennsylvania. Don't look for him to make the kind of church Steve Kinzer made. That's not his style. He usually lets a race settle down a bit. All right, do we get a flag? Yes, the green is out, and this heat is underway.
At almost 130 miles an hour down that straightaway and into turn number 1, Bruce Young in the 1Y car out of Union Grove, Wisconsin, jumps out into the lead off the pole, Steve Evans.
And 11E, the blue and white car of Dave Akers, settles down into that second spot, followed by 4C. That's the white machine. Todd Bishop fighting the wheel on that particular car. Roger Rager, the 3 car, he's in the 4th position. We've got problems in turn 1. Leland McSpadden, Brock, is tangled with 31 white. Oh, and here is Bobby Allen slamming into Randy Smith, and he is upside down right in the middle of the racetrack. The red flag is out. This heat has been stopped for obvious reasons. Bobby Allen appears to be okay.
One of the great veterans of the World of Outlaws, a former go-kart champion, Bobby Allen, out of the car okay. Now let's take another look at how this happened. A big traffic jam down into turn number 1. Leland McSpadden in the 12 is forced into the rear end of Randy Smith in the 31 car. They both come sliding to a halt. Apparently no damage to those automobiles, but not to happen to Bobby Allen, who arrives on the scene a little bit late. And this is what happens to Allen. He tries to go high, but Randy Smith's car spins right up into his path, and there is a relatively slow flop, kind of a low roll on the part of Bobby Allen. Fortunately, that big wing and roll cage protect him from injury, but the car is badly damaged. From another angle, there is McSpadden on the left of your screen in the blue 12. There is Randy Smith, now impacted by Bobby Allen in the 1A, one roll. Another car slides underneath the second roll by Bobby Allen, bends up the wing badly in the front end. He is out of the car and unhurt. Steve is with him.
Well, Bobby Allen appears to be okay, Brock, but the 1A car has suffered some severe damage. As you can see, the right front wheel is bent all the way out. That means some severe suspension damage. There's quite a bit of damage to the big tall wing, but the best news is, Bobby Allen, you're okay? Yeah. Bobby's all right. Bobby, exactly what did happen? It was a pretty hectic lap there.
Well, they run down, they got grease on the front stretch. The two of them run the grease, and they run into each other, and they slid out in front of me and turned me over.
Through for the night?
I think so. I don't know if we can get ready in time for the B or not.
All right, thank you, Bobby.
Well, Steve, I don't think that's possible because you'll have to finish among the top 8 to advance tonight, the top 4 to the A main, the second 4 to the B main. Bobby Allen, unless he can get this thing ready and back into this heat, which looks unlikely, he is through for the night.
And you know, Brock, this was a pretty typical open-wheel racing kind of a crash. Unlike stock cars where they just bang sheet metal, here you get rubber to rubber. And when that happens, somebody is going to get upside down. In this case, it happened to be Scruffy. Poor Bobby Allen took the brunt of it, and it was really no fault of his own. He just had absolutely no place to go. But you can see as the car starts to roll, the wing takes up a great deal of the shock. That's what they're for, that and downforce.
So Bobby Allen out in a nasty little crash. Almost before the race started, the second lap here, the third heat. He is finished for the night.
Well, Brock, the track is clear, and it looks like we're going to go racing again on this next lap.
And one of the major competitors, of course, Bobby Allen, is out of it. So that relieves some of the pressure on Steve Butler, Terry Gray, Roger Reger, one of the veterans, Todd Bishop, and starting on the point, Bruce Young in the 1Y car.
And in typical outlaw fashion, they start racing before they even get into turn number 4. And they sweep down towards the start-finish line, get the green flag in front of this packed house at Knoxville. And it is Bruce Young, the 1Y car, the black machine, and Todd Bishop, 4C, the white car. And look on the outside, that is Bishop in the 4 car. What a move he's making.
Bishop charging hard as the number 20 orange car, Terry Gray, sticks in there in the third spot. Now being challenged by the 1B car of Steve Butler, the current USAC sprint car champion. So white number 4C, driven by Todd Bishop, holds on to a narrow lead here. But look at this, Steve. The number 12X car, Leland McSpadden, makes a beautiful charge coming down off turn number 3 to take the third spot.
Well, obviously, Leland did not suffer any damage whatsoever in that earlier crash. Here is a great tussle for the 5th position. That is the 31 white car of Randy Smith, and he gets around the 3 black machine of Roger Reger. He is now in 5th position and hoping to move up one more to get that transfer spot.
Well, like Leland McSpadden, he certainly didn't suffer any damage in that little spin on the second lap, Steve. So Randy Smith running strong. There is the 4C car of Todd Bishop still leading it here.
You know, this is a great track to spectate, Brock, because instead of pitching the cars into the turns and kind of backing them into the wall and then accelerating down a straightaway, you ride that cushion and you keep them in a straight line. You let the stagger and the natural banking of the racetrack cause the car to turn to the left. It really takes an artist here.
Well, it's a good clean lap here will permit the race driver never to lift the throttle, as we said earlier. It's hard to believe, but you just scrub off speed in these corners and just keep that throttle buried all the way around on this beautiful half mile here in Knoxville, Iowa. This, by the way, Steve, is a pure half mile. Some of the racetracks fudge a little bit on their distance, but on the inside rail, this is an exact perfect 1/2 of a mile. The high side out here is probably more like a 5/8 mile. So even though these cars are averaging well over 100 miles an hour, Jimmy Sells averaged 111 in qualifying. A guy like Bishop here probably running well over 100 on each lap here.
And where they really feel that wing is in the turns. That's where it just plants the car. If you took the wing off of those cars, Brock, it would slow them down by 2 seconds. There is the 4th place car. That is number 1B. That is Steve Butler. Can he hang on to that position?
Well, right now, that's the critical transfer spot. Remember, as Todd Bishop leads it here to take the white flag, the final lap. The 4C white car goes high in turn number 1, Steve.
He does indeed, Brock. And Terry Gray in the 20 orange car has made up a number of car lanes as they sweep out at turn number 3 into turn number 4. Here's the orange car taking the lead. That is Terry Gray on the very last lap of this heat race. He wins it, the 20 car from out of nowhere.
So, Terry Gray, mission accomplished. He'll move into the A feature. Joining him will be Todd Bishop, car number 4C, Leland McSpadden, car number 12X, and Steve Butler, car number 1B. Now, let's go to Brock Yates.
Well, Terry Gray, who survived little dodgem cars on the opening laps, then came back and nailed the victory on the final lap. Good move.
Thank you. The cars that started on the front row, they were having trouble, and they were banging wheels on the first lap, and seemed like every which way I went, one was sitting there.
Finally got the debris cleared away, though, and then he had to sit behind for a while. And did you reckon you could make your move in the last couple of laps?
Yeah, about 2 laps ago, we were coming up on some lap cars, and I thought if I could catch him going in the last corner behind the lap cars, I might could get by him.
And it worked.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good job, Terry.
Thanks.
For sure. All right, as we get ready for heat number 4, let's remind you that we've had some weather problems here all week. This is a major event of 4 days of sprint car racing every year at Knoxville, and normally the weather's hot and dry in Iowa at this time of the year, but we've had constant thunderstorms and heavy rain, Steve, and that slowed things up a bit.
And Brock, there's some lightning in the area right now. It's a very dark sky as we get ready for heat number 4. There's 5 heats overall, then the B main, and then the all-important A main. They come out at turn number 4 racing.
They sure do, and the man to watch is right behind everybody in that orange 1T. That's Jeff Swindell, Sammy's younger brother, riding high through turn number 4 and moving past a whole bunch of cars already.
Well, you know, they pinched him up high there, Brock, and I thought, really, that's going to impede his progress for a while. He just pushed right through, and here's our leaders. What a race. Sweeping inside in the red 23 car, that's Devlin Polkinghorn, and he is really fighting it out with the 34 Blue Machine, Mike Bredigan. Boy, this is a battle up front.
And there's Swindell trying to catch up, moving through the field here as Polkinghorn and Bredigan bounce off each other, coming off into turn number 3. You know, Steve, Polkinghorn's running an iron block. Now, most of the Outlaws run aluminum block Chevys, about 410 cubic inches, so Polkinghorn giving away maybe 40 or 50 pounds as we watch Swindell drive up on Bredigan and challenge for that second spot.
Swindell now in second. You can see how greasy the track was down low. Let's see. Yes, Jeff is going to go a bit higher now, try to get that right wheel right on the edge of the cushion. That's how you drive Knoxville. Here's a challenge for third, and they are bumping.
It's the white 74S of Tommy Scott moving in on the 34 car of Mike Bredigan, and Bredigan seems to be just having some problems, Steve. He can't seem to keep the pace up.
Well, Brock, now he has slipped clear back to 6th position. 90, Rich Bubak got by him for 4th. Also, 45, White Ray Lipsky got around. So it is Bubak who now owns that final transfer position, and that is car number 9.
But right now, Steve Evans, all eyes are on the 23 car of Devlin Polkinghorn and the 1T car, Jeff Swindell, who are battling now for the lead. Swindell high through turn 1, then down low, and will he? Yes. Moving into turn number 3, he will take the lead from Polkinghorn.
An outstanding drive by Jeff Swindell. You can imagine what kind of action we're going to see later on tonight when guys like Swindell and Steve Getzer all get together in the same race. That's what all these heats are building towards. There is Swindell, and he is just lengthening his lead in that 1T car. Beautiful orange machine out of Bartlett, Tennessee.
The younger brother of Sammy Swindell on his way to an apparent victory victory here in heat number 4 as we watch the 2 cars struggling for that transfer spot. That orange car, the 9D of Rick Bubeck, presently holds a position, and right behind him, the 45 white of Ray Lipsy. Well, Ray's trying to move in on him, Steve.
Polkinghorn is in the second spot, and right there, 74S, the white car of Tommy Scott. He is running in third and appears to have a transfer spot just about guaranteed. As we're going on to the last lap, everybody right now, Brock, just trying to maintain control. There is the leader, 1T, Jeff Swindell, around some traffic, just trying to stay away from them.
Off the final corner to take the checkered flag here in heat number 4. Jeff Swindell wins it from the back of the pack. And now, let's go down to the pits with Steve Evans and Jeff.
Thank you, Brock. Well, Jeff Swindell wins this heat because of some sensational driving on that first lap. He went from last to third. I don't know if you were counting, but we were.
Well, we got a good break there. I got up, and I thought the same thing that happened to Kinzer a while ago was going to get me. A bunch of cars piled up in front of me and backed up over the cushion. I just kind of stuck it out up there, and they all went back to the bottom. Barely sneaked around them, but it worked out real good.
You know, to take the lead, you had a chance to go high and see if that would work for you. Did it work as well as it appeared to?
Well, the high right now is really the passing point to get around the slower cars. It's really a little better down right about where the cushion is. It's a lot faster down there, but you know, when you're running with slower cars and they're all bunched up like that on the starts, you got to go where they're not. That's the only place they're not.
A good philosophy. Good job.
Thank you very much. The Trigueiro Brothers Lambeth construction car, we got it running real good.
Well, that rumble you hear in the background, Brock, those are the cars already out on the racetrack for heat number 5, the final heat of the night. A big crowd here, as we said before, capacity 15,000. Most of them have had their tickets for months, and a lot camp right here at the fairgrounds, and that hasn't been much fun this year as 7 inches of rain has fallen. You know, Brock, in every one of these heat races, there appears to be one killer car. Who do you see in heat number 5?
Well, it's got to be the scratch car once again, the guy at the back, the number 23 car, Rocky Hodges. Rocky, a regular from just up the road in Des Moines, Iowa, runs Knoxville all season long, hits the Outlaw Trail occasionally. He is going to be tough. Remember, we saw him run so hard at Syracuse a couple of years ago, over 140 mile an hour lap on that mile.
Doug Clark gives him the green flag, and into turn number 1, it is 29C, the red and white car of Gary Zitterich. He has got the lead over the 4X machine of Jerry Jansen. But back in the back, here comes Rocky Hodges.
Just like we thought, Steve, that orange 23, Rocky Hodges driving through the field. A hard rider Rocky is, and he really knows his way around this racetrack.
But he was having some control problems. Oh, and Rocky Hodges gets tagged by the 32 red and yellow car of Dave Fitzgerald, and that has put Rocky into the mud.
And look at that mire. Boy, would they love that stuff down in Naples, Florida, Steve, as Rocky tries to extract himself. We are under yellow here, as the field will reform once they get Rocky restarted, if in fact they can do it. It's hard to say what kind of damage he suffered in that little bang off Fitzgerald down the front straightaway.
Well, let's have another look. Here is Rocky Hodges, the orange car. He had been moving up to the field pretty well, then got into some control problems, and all of a sudden, here comes a 32 car. Fitzgerald gives him a good shot in the right front wheel. Rocky goes into a drift, avoids the pole in the wall, but does end up mired in the mud, and I'm sure we will not see that car restart here in the 5th heat race.
So, Steve, we've had 3 of the big players suffer already tonight. Jimmy Sills did not make the cut on his heat. Bobby Allen crashed, and now Rocky Hodges is out of the race this 5th heat. So we've had some big upsets already.
About ready for a restart. Gary Zitterich, he will be up front, the 29C car. Then Jerry Jansen, 4X, Rick Ungers, 7TW, and Bob Ayton in the 61A car. That is the 4th and final qualifying position, but we've got a lot of laps to go here.
We sure do, Steve, because yellow laps do not count in sprint car racing. So any of these laps are just circulating out here, using up a little of that alcohol fuel in those tanks, but otherwise no contest. Now they're going to form up single file here as they head down the back straightaway, and will start to get on the throttle, I imagine. I would think we're going to see a green flag here as they head down into turn number 3, and they're on the throttle, and the green is out.
And out of turn number 4, they are just inches apart. A little bumping going on as they come down the front straightaway. And look at the move being put on here right now by 17W, the red car, Rick Unger. He is going to take the lead, Brock, and that is one of those iron motors.
It is. Rick Unger riding the low groove for the first lap to take the lead here. He started in the 3rd spot, and all of a sudden is out front, headed for an open racetrack until he gets into lap traffic.
And the race for the second position, Gary Zitterich, the 29Z car, red and white. 6 him just behind him, the red car of Tim Munson. And 81, the blue machine, Jerry Reichert. They are all in a good duke out here for that second spot.
But Steve, watch that 56 red car right behind the group. That's Kenny Jacobs from right here in Iowa, starting to challenge for the 4th spot. Look at him riding high, heading on the outside, up on the cushion, and he moves by everybody.
Jacobs in the 56 red is in second position. And look at this 81 blue. Jerry Reichert has taken third away from the red and white 29Z car of Gary Zitterich.
Well, Zitterich is struggling, Steve. He's in the 4th spot, but now being challenged by Tim Munson in the 6M.
Boy, that is a great fight, but so is the one for the second spot. 56 red, Kenny Jacobs, and the 81 blue car right there of Jerry Reichert. And Reichert may be making up some ground on him. That is second right there.
And here is that race, that all-important race for the 4th spot between Tim Munson and Gary Zitterich. Zitterich holding onto him, onto that position in that 29 car, but continually challenged all the way around this half-mile racetrack by Tim Munson in that red number 6.
Well, let's see if Munson, Brock, may ultimately go high here to try to get around Zitterich, because he has got to get that 4th spot. There is Munson on the inside. Munson stays on the inside. He doesn't go high, and he makes the pass work. He gets around, and look, slowing right there was the blue machine, number 81 of Jerry Reichert. He has got his problems. So with Reichert slowing there, that moves the number 6M red car of Tim Munson up into the 3rd spot. So still the battle there is 3rd and 4th between Munson and now Zitterich instead of the other way around. And look at this. Suddenly Zitterich has another challenger for that 4th position. That is the 5 orange car of Mike Profit. But suddenly Profit falls back just a little bit. But that might have been a momentary bobble, because here again comes Profit right up onto the back of Zitterich. While this is going on, let's quickly go to Brock Yates.
Well, Rocky Hodges had a tough break on that opening lap. Rocky, you hooked the wheel with one of the slower cars and just got it into the mud. Can you get it repaired?
Well, we got a good crew here. We're sure going to try to get it repaired. The car was running real well. It's just one of those racing things that happen.
Sure. And I'm sure that on this racetrack, your home track, you know that a lot of wild stuff can happen in Knoxville, right?
Anything can happen this week. The weather has proved that already. You know, it's the 3rd day. We're finally racing. Maybe we can get it going again and get back out there and give the people something to see.
All right, heat number 5 is on the last lap. 7TW, the red car of Rick Unger, is the leader. There you see him completing the final circuit, fighting that wheel, but he has no challenges as far as winning this heat is concerned.
So there is a classic look at a sprint car driver sliding that car off turn number 4. That's what the folks come to see. So Rick Unger wins it, but the race for 4th continues, Steve Evans.
It does into turn number 3. Gary Zitterich has 4th, the 29 car. Mike Profit in the orange car wants that 4th position desperately. They come out at turn number 4 towards the stripe. It is Gary Zitterich who will get that final transfer spot. Boy, those two guys put on a whale of a show.
Finishing ahead of Zitterich and Profit were Tim Munson, Kenny Jacobs, and leading when it really counted at the finish line, Rick Unger. Brock is with Rick.
Well, that was a relatively, considering Knoxville, that was a relatively uneventful win, I would imagine.
Well, I don't know. You never know.
Uneventful,
No, I figured Kenny Jacobs was probably all over, so he's real fast here. And the track actually finally coming. We got a steel motor in here, and we were leery of even coming here with it. We had to hope for it to be a little rough and heavy, and it's getting a little ledgy, and it's pretty heavy, so it makes our car pretty stable.
Rick, tell the people what advantage a heavier iron motor will give you on a racetrack like this.
Well, if it's real rough and heavy, the motor will help keep the car on the ground. Guys with aluminum motors, they have trouble keeping the front ends on the ground.
What kind of weight, how much heavier weight are you carrying than a real light aluminum motor car?
It's about 80, 90 pounds.
Means a lot.
A heck of a lot, yeah.
Well, it worked for you. So heading out of the feature, you're going to make any changes? Do you see the racetrack changing a whole lot before the feature comes out?
Not really, not a whole lot, I don't think. We're pretty well going to stay where we're at, I believe.
Well, I hope it works for you. Thanks, Rick, for sure.
Thank you.
Well, Steve, they're on the track now, rolling around on some pace laps, getting ready to run the B feature. That is the old consolation event. That is the event that will determine the last 2 starters in the A main. 2 guys out of this entire field will get to the feature race. Jimmy Sills, the quick qualifier lap record holder here, and Randy Smith will start on the front row. On the inside of row 3, Steve, remember Jerry Rucker? We saw him have some problems in that last heat. He won this event way back in 1962. One of the great veterans from up in Minnesota in Midwestern sprint car racing.
And you know, Brock, the fans are such a part of the excitement of this event and the community. You figure this little town in Knoxville, its population triples once a year. This afternoon I had a chance to go down and look around a little bit, and everybody is behind this. Every service club, the high school band, they had a parade with floats. I mean, this is, to them, this is the Rose Bowl.
And believe it or not, Steve, they've come from all corners of the country to race here. The classic American sprint car, about 86-inch wheelbase, about 410 cubic inch, alcohol-burning, fuel-injected engine, big wings, and these cars gather up in places like Knoxville to bang wheels. And believe me, if you can finish anywhere near the front in any kind of a race here at Knoxville, you can drive a race car, believe me.
All right, this is 15 laps of racing. The B main, they start to accelerate, looking for the green flag, and they have got it. We are underway once again here at the Knoxville Nationals. Down into turn number 1, it's the 31 car, the white machine of Randy Smith. Just behind him, the quickest driver of the entire weekend, Jimmy Sills, the 14 car orange from California.
So they head down into turn number 4, completing this first lap. And the 45X, Johnny Gerber, sits in the 3rd spot. As we watch the white car, the 45 car, Ray Lipsy, ride up into the 4th spot. Now remember, Steve, only 2 guys will advance into the A main out of this entire field.
The caution flag is out, Brock. And the reason being there, up against the fence at turn number 4, the 32X car, that is John Cernette, and the starter Doug Clark saying, slow her down, boys.
Well, this adds some pressure to the entire event as we see Cernette there. No apparent damage to the car, but they're going to have to tow him off. And it's going to delay things a little bit as the weather continues to threaten off to the west. We see a thunderstorm rolling around out there, and we just hope maybe we can get this whole show in as the pace car is on the racetrack and getting ready to form up for a restart. You know, the man who threw the yellow flag, Doug Clark, is a critical element here at Knoxville, as are all starters. Earlier, Steve had a chance to talk with him.
Things happen so fast in short track dirt racing. You have to have a particularly skilled starter. And let me tell you, this man, Doug Clark, fills that bill. And Doug, after 5 years of this, our viewers are, I'm sure, familiar with the usual flags. Show us some of the things that maybe they're not. The passing flag, for example, and how you use it.
My passing flag, I just hold it out, and then I bring my hand around and tell them where I want them. I'll roll up my yellow flag, hold the move-over flag out, like about the only time I really use it is when I want to pack the track. The thing with the move-over flag and sprint car racing, that these guys are going so fast, they're concentrating on certain areas. And if I start waving a bunch of flags out there, these guys might make a sudden dart and get in front of the faster car, and we'll have a bad accident.
So you use your hand occasionally instead of a flag.
Yeah, I just figure it's a lot easier because, you know, the people give me a bunch of stuff like. But if I just wave my hands, the slower cars know the fast car's coming, so they'll hold their spot and go a straight line so the faster car can go around them.
You ever had anything embarrassing happen to you on that flag, like maybe dropping a flag?
Yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah. Last year during the Nationals, we had so many cars come by us that I went to grab my yellow flag from behind me. I brought it up like that, and the wind was so terrific that it just blew it right out of my hands.
Guys tease you a little bit about that afterwards?
A little bit, yeah. They told me they were going to give me some Velcro gloves.
All right, we're ready for a restart. They're formed up for the restart here in the B main. Jimmy Sills and Randy Smith on the point, the front row. Those are the guys in the best position right now to transfer. Steve, or green out?
Indeed, and on the inside in the 14 car, the number 1 qualifier, that is Jimmy Sills from California. Just behind him, hoping that Sills will drift high, is Randy Smith, the 31 white car. He's in the 2nd spot. Sills stays down low in the racing group. Look at this race for 3rd, Brock.
Terrific race. A pair of 45s. 45X red, Johnny Gerber. 45 white, Ray Lipsy. Banging at each other, trying to move up through this field and get into that A main.
And that's right. 4th position here doesn't mean a darn thing, Brock. You got to be 2nd or better to move into that main event. Ray Lipsy, the 45 car, trying to pull alongside 45X red. Johnny Gerber, but Herrera is able to hold on. Or is he? Look at this tussle. This is for the 3rd position.
Well, Lipsy keeps trying it low, but Herrera rides that high groove up on the cushion. But slowly but surely, Herrera's going to have to give way, and Lipsy finally moves into that third spot. But boy, Herrera fought him every inch of the way around this half mile at Knoxville.
And Brock, you can also see the track is changing a little bit and requiring a little different driving strategy. They're starting to pitch it into the turns a little harder than they were before when everyone was trying to just keep the cars going straight. Starter Doug Clark looking on. A great battle here in the B main.
As we watch Johnny Herrera in that 45X trying to make up the distance on Ray Lipsy, who just drove by him a few laps ago and now has extended his lead to maybe 4 or 5 car lengths. So right now it's Lipsy in good control for that third spot. But up front, it's the number 14 car, Jimmy Sills, Placerville, California. The track record holder, a man who circulated here in 16:23 seconds. That's 111 plus miles an hour, which is flying on a low-banked half mile like Knoxville.
And right now he is trying to lap the 61A car. That is Bob Ayton. He already lapped Dave Eckern in the 11E car. So Sills is out there lapping a number of cars.
Well, he's trying to just dominate this event because he wants to move into the feature race. And right now he's got a good handle on this particular event.
Well, here's the 45X car, young Johnny Herrera. He's in the 5th spot, but coming up on him out of Dallas, Texas is another red car. Steve Perry, 12P is the number on the machine.
Johnny Herrera out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, doing a good job here as we watch this struggle. And there is Herrera moving up on Lipsy in that white 45. Look at those 3 guys go at it. A terrific battle for third place as they slide by some of the lap cars.
Well, some of those lap cars slowed 45 Ray Lipsy. That in turn slowed Herrera, who had to get on the binders behind him. But all of that allowed Steve Perry to make up some ground on Herrera.
And up ahead of them is Galen Martin out of Fairfield, Iowa. He's down there in that 2M car. They're going to have to get by him. Galen riding down low and in his own way, while he's running his own race, seems to be slowing off a little bit. This could afford an opportunity for Herrera to jump past Lipsy.
Our leader, number 14, Jimmy Sills, going on to the last lap of this B main. The car just in front of him, the 18 machine, that is Bobby Hausman. He is a lap down. Whoa, and getting on the brakes is Jimmy Sills. That's the one time you really need the binders on these cars, when you've got that kind of a closing rate. Well, this is 14, Jimmy Sills. If he can hang on 2 more corners, he will definitely go into the A main. And here he goes across the stripe. Jimmy Sills wins, but that race for third
carries on with Ray Lipsy prevailing over Johnny Herrera. But it's all for naught, Steve Evans, because only Jimmy Sills and Randy Smith will transfer to the main event. So it has to be of some satisfaction to Jimmy Sills, who came in here setting a lap record, fell back in his heat race, had to work his way back up to victory in the B feature. So he will move into the A main and will certainly be a factor in that event. The quickest man ever here at Knoxville. Sills, Smith, Lipsy, Herrera, Perry round out the top 5, but only Smith and Sills will get into the big event. But right now, the race is against the weather. The storm is mounting to the west. We've got to hurry up. Let's go to Steve in the pits.
Well, Brock, Jimmy Sills, who won the B main, you see him here applying some more tearaways to the visor on his helmet because he knows he's going to need them in the A feature. He's going to eat a lot of dirt. He has to start way at the back. Well, in the B, Jimmy, you moved away with no forwarding address on that field, but not so easy in the A.
Well, yeah, you know, we got a little faster group of cars in the A main, and we got to come from the back. My car felt real good everywhere on the racetrack. Our motor's probably the strongest motor here, so I think we can get up through there pretty good and finish up front, hopefully.
Have a safe one.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, Brock, I hope you're under cover because it's starting to rain down here in the pits, and it may be this evening's racing is over. The rains indeed did come last evening, completely washing out the A feature. And while she was at it, Mother Nature also completely washed out the infield, making it impossible to regroup the cars down there to finally get this race off. So in an outlaw first, the A feature will bump start out of the sheep and swine barn. And inside, enjoying the aroma and a chat with the man in the front row, is Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, I've done a lot of different kind of deals over the years at racetracks, but I'll bet you along with Leland McSpadden here out of Tempe, Arizona, one of the great veterans in this sport, who's going to start on the outside of the front row, that I've never seen a race get underway inside a pig barn. How about you, Leland?
No, this is the first time this looks like something that you'd write in a script instead of a real thing, you know.
3 days of rain, the racetrack's beautiful, and the pits are 2 foot deep in water. Looks like they have a boat race in them.
What does this do for a driver's concentration? You were all wired up, suited up, ready to go. You got just a partial start last night, then they red flagged it. Now we got to go again. What does that change the setup at all for you?
Yeah, we got to change a lot. The real bad part now is they're probably going to give us about 3 hot laps and then go right into the A feature. And this racetrack has a characteristic of capping over in the daytime and burning tires. And we're all trying to make this guess when it's going to cap and what's going to happen to us when it does cap and how long the tires are going to last.
Well, we're wishing you best of luck. Good luck, Leyland.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve?
As the crew puts the finishing touches on the 20 car, driver young Kelly Kinzer looks on. Kelly, your first ever Knoxville Nationals. Your cousin Steve, the champion, is 2 rows behind you. I'd call this pressure, wouldn't you?
Oh, it definitely is. You know, it's my first trip here and everything, and I'm just kind of learning the track a little bit, and it's going to be different from last night. And I've never run a daytime race here for quite a while, or anywhere for a while. But we're going to try. It's going to soften her up, and I'm sure Steve's going to be charging around pretty soon. But I'm going to try to hold him off. But
is there any communication between you and Steve? Does he come over, put his arm around you, say, "Hey, Kelly, do this, do that"?
Oh, a little bit. He's got a lot more to think about himself than me. But every once in a while we'll kind of talk things over a little bit.
We'll be watching. Have a good ride.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, the famous number 11 of Steve Kinzer is going to start back in the number 8 spot, but I'll guarantee he's not going to stay there very long. We saw him dominate a heat race a little last night, and I would imagine, Steve, the car is beautifully hooked up. It certainly was last night. Track conditions will change, I would imagine, this afternoon with the heat and the dry track, but the old girl should work pretty well.
Well, I think so. It's been working good all year. We've just had probably our best year that we've had together, me and Carl, since '78. So if everything goes right, if the track don't just give away on us where there's no place to pass, I think we can get our way worked up pretty well toward the front and hope we can get to the checker first.
Steve, is that a problem here at Knoxville? Can this track get into a one groove situation when it gets real hot?
Yeah, any track, dirt track racing is so much different because Mother Nature does play such a dramatic role on the track condition. We got a lot of races to run on it. Of course, you just never know. It's just something. There's a lot of water. We've just had so much rain. There's a lot of water underneath it. It's just too early to tell what the track is going to do. We'll just have to wait till everybody gets out and hot laps on it a little bit, and just sort of go with changing the race car from there. And we might have to change the car quite a bit from last night.
Well, we'll be watching, and we wish you the best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Well, Brock, we're about to find out how well Steve Kinzer and the other teams have adjusted, because we're set for the big one, the A feature, the Copenhagen Classic.
As we said earlier, a full field, all of whom have tried to guess the setup here after the night race rained out, and now they've just got hot weather and a potentially very dry racetrack to work on.
And a dusty one, it looks like, Brock. You can just throw out everything we've seen before, maybe other than the performance of Steve Kinzer. Because as you heard everybody say in our pre-race interviews, this track has changed. There's a lot of guesswork going on by the crews as to what compound of tire to run. This is going to be a very abrasive track. It'll be very hard on those outside tires. And here comes the start. And on the point, it's the 49 car, the popular Danny Lasowski. The yellow machine leads him down to turn number 1. And filing in behind him, the 12X, the blue machine of Leland McSpadden.
But look at that white number 20 car of Kelly Kinzer taking a high road to move into second place on the outside of Leland McSpadden. McSpadden down low, Kinzer high, off turn number 3 into turn straightaway, and Kinzer takes over second spot.
Kinzer driving like a man with that last name is supposed to, just flat out. Leland in the 12 blue car. I don't know how long he's going to enjoy third place, Brock. Here comes Ronnie Daniels, 24D, the gray machine. Jeff Swindell, the orange car, 1T moving up. And Kenny Jacobs, also the 56 red. That is all the battle for third spot as they put the pressure on Leland McSpadden.
Down the front straightaway, McSpadden goes high. Daniels in the 24 car comes off turn 3 in third spot. Jeff Swindell right behind him. Down the back straightaway into turn number 3. There is Swindell riding in the 4th spot. Daniels right in front of him, holding on to 3rd.
And Kenny Jacobs, that 56 red car, he is in the 5th position. Leland McSpadden has slipped all the way back to 6th in number 12. And Steve Kinzer is now up to 7th and taking a shot at 6th position right now. That's Ron Schumann just behind the 11 car of Kinzer.
There goes Kinzer by McSpadden. As you saw a tearaway fly up onto our screen, one of the many that these drivers wear to keep their goggles clear. As we watch Kinzer down low, and he moves by Kenny Jacobs to take that 5th spot. Remember, Steve, you've got gear selection, wing angle, bar settings, shock settings, tire selection, everything critical here today to make these race cars work on this track.
Well, it's Ron Schumann, the 7R car, next to pick on Leland McSpadden, who is continuing to move back in the field instead of forward. That is the battle for 7th. Ron Schumann putting a lot of pressure on him.
All right, the race begins to form up between these two cars. 1T, Jeff Swindell, 11, Steve Kinzer, the guys that started in the 7th and 8th spots, and now they're moving up to begin to challenge the leaders. Let's see if Swindell can hold off the charging Steve Kinzer.
Kinzer is in the 5th position. Swindell just in front of him is 4th. And here comes Kinzer, and he gets him on the inside. Swindell got off into the marbles, and that cost him dearly.
It sure did, as Steve Kinzer now moves into the 4th spot. And look at this, Steve. Ronnie Daniels rides it high into turn number 1 to take the lead away from Danny Lasowski. So Daniels down the back straightaway opens it out a little bit. Daniels staying high up there on that cushion, rim riding they used to call it in the old days, as Daniels moves way out. But look at this, Kinzer has now taken over 3rd place, a solid position, and beginning to set his sights on Danny Lasowski for 2nd spot.
Well, Steve Kinzer's march to the front is going to be slowed here because we have a yellow flag out. The caution flag is out. There does not appear to be any kind of an accident out there, just a car who apparently is stranded and in a dangerous position. Yes, sir. In fact, the problem is over on the inside of turn number 4. The 6M red machine of Tim Munson apparently spun out, didn't appear to make contact with anything, and it shouldn't take more than a moment for a wrecker to get out there and push him into the pits. The pits is just right behind him, so that won't take long.
Oh, this is an advantage, of course, for Steve Kinzer because he moves up right on the rear Nerf bar of Danny Lasowski in the 2nd spot. So we have leading it under caution Ronnie Daniels, Lasowski, Steve Kinzer on a charge in 3rd spot. Kelly Kinzer's cousin, Jeff Swindell, round out the top 5. But it's going to be interesting, Steve Evans, to see whether or not the two less experienced drivers up front could actually hold off the master as we get ready for a restart.
We have a restart, Brock. There are 12 laps remaining in the A main. Staying high is the 24 car, the great machine of Ronnie Daniels. Steve Kinzer dives low in the 11 machine. He takes 2nd spot away from 49, Danny Lasowski. Only 1 car remains in front of Steve Kinzer.
Steve Kinzer very orderly charge toward the front and down low one more time to take the lead coming off turn number 4. So the inevitable almost is occurring here as this incredible combination of Steve Kinzer and his uncle Carl, the engine builder and mechanic on that number 11 automobile, take over. And I'll tell you what, Steve, I would imagine something's got to break on that race car for Steve not to win this thing.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And I'll tell you, Steve would be proud of his little cousin, Kelly Kinzer, with a 20K car. Kelly has been holding off Jeff Swindell in the orange 1T car for that 3rd spot, lap after lap. And look at this. Swindell is not making any ground on the man who is a rookie here, Kelly Kinzer.
Well, Steve, remember we were concerned that this racetrack had turned into a 1-groove ballpark, but not so. Jeff's riding a low groove. Now he's gone up high. And look at this. He's going to bobble enough to let Danny Lasowski buy him. So Jeff Swindell gambled on that high side, and it did not pay off. In fact, it hurt him badly. So Swindell will come back at Lasowski and try to regain that spot. But right now, that was a costly error for him.
Well, I don't know that Jeff went out there on purpose, Brock. That orange car might have just slid right out from under him. There's some slick spots developing on this racetrack.
Right, so out of Dover, Missouri, Danny Lasowski, not carrying quite the big reputation that Jeff Swindell does, has moved by him and does run it very well indeed.
Well, Steve Kinzer in the 11 car passed Ronnie Daniels for the 2nd spot some time ago, but he's having a hard time shaking Daniels. Daniels hanging on tenaciously there. If Steve makes any kind of mistake, Ronnie will be right back in the lead. And look at the precision of both of these drivers, riding just high enough to hang those outside wheels into what they call the cushion, that little bit of loose dirt, but you don't want to get quite that high.
So here is your race one more time for 4th as Jeff Swindell takes back the position that he lost to Danny Lasowski a couple of laps earlier. So Jeff Swindell now in that 4th spot, but really right now a little bit of a surprise, Steve, not in any position to challenge Steve Kinzer for the lead, which we thought would probably happen with these two guys starting side by side.
Well, now Jenny Lasowski, the bright yellow 49 car, is going to have to defend his fifth spot because that is the 1B red car of Steve Butler that wants it.
Well, Steve, believe it or not, even though this race is only 10 miles long, 20 laps here and a half mile, tire wear becomes a factor. This racetrack has become very hard, almost like asphalt, and that right rear tire takes an enormous beating, and it could be that Lasowski's getting some radical tire wear that's slowing him down as we watch Jeff Swindell sitting in the fourth spot.
And how about up front here? You know, Ronnie Daniels has got to have his fill of Kensers. First it was Steve Kinser who took his lead away, and now it's his cousin Kelly Kinser in the 20K car trying to take second place from him, and Kelly does it. We now have Kinsers running 1 and 2.
Here you see Kelly in the number 20 car around turn 1 into turn number 2 and down the back straightaway, and that is his cousin, the leader, Steve Kinser, in the number 11 car, just lapping Fran Bruns and holding on to what appears to be an insurmountable lead. Heading down underneath the white flag, he is on his final lap here, Steve.
But we have got some action for second spot. Look at this. Ronnie Daniels, 24D, the gray car, has retaken second spot back from Kelly Kinser, trying to prevent a Kinser 1-2 finish here. We are on the last lap. Steve Kinser will come around for the checkered flag. There it is. But what about the race for second place? It is going to be Ronnie Daniels in front of Kelly Kinser as they come out of turn number 4. Ronnie Daniels takes second spot. Kelly Kinser settles for third.
Good job by Ronnie Daniels to hang in there and retake that second spot with only a lap left as we watch the winner, the number 11, that famed number 11, Steve Kinser, coming in as the winner of the Copenhagen Classic here at Knoxville. Well, we had a little bonus here at Knoxville. We started out in the night, saw some night racing, and then finished up in the daytime. Down on the front straightaway, Steve Kinser, the winner, has stopped around a cluster of fans. Steve's in there.
A wonderful drive, Steve. Did the track have any surprises for you?
Well, the track surprised me. It didn't start getting rubber down. I figured they'd go this whole show by getting on the track that soon, and it got rubber down right there toward the end where you could run right in the middle of the track.
You know, last night on almost a perfect racetrack, if you were free of traffic, you could run all the way around here full throttle. Didn't look like you could do that this afternoon.
Well, you couldn't. At the start, it was pretty slick, and you just run into cushion now. It's the track got real quicker there at the end to get the rubber down, so it's one of those deals where you're up there running the loose stuff, you don't know when to pull down and try to get into the rubber, so I tried it there one time, and it felt pretty good, so I just dropped it in the middle after that.
Again, terrific job. Thanks for a great show.
Thank you.
One of the appeals of the Knoxville Nationals is that the fans are treated to 4 days of superb racing action, like the Copenhagen Classic. But really, the first 3 nights are preliminary action, building to the final night, the climax of the Coors Knoxville Nationals and the race that will crown the champion.
Well, Steve, the great and the near great always show up at the Knoxville Nationals, but believe it or not, in the last decade, 2 men have dominated the competition. The driver of this car, the famed number 11, Steve Kinser, the greatest and most successful sprint car driver of the modern age, has won 4 times and is the defending champion. Doug Wolfgang has also won 4 races in the last 10 years. Sammy Swindell and Ron Schumann have won 1 each.
Well, Steve Kinser, car number 11, is one of many who have already qualified for the A feature. Include in that list Sammy Swindell, car number 1, and Ron Schumann, car number 7R. Now, among those still looking to get into the A feature is 4-time champion Doug Wolfgang. And one guy who will be watching tonight's action from the pits is Bobby Allen. He's at a tough Knoxville.
This helmet will see no duty tonight. It's the hat worn by Bobby Allen, the driver of 1A, and by now we're all familiar with his hard luck here at the Knoxville Nationals. And Bobby was scheduled to start at the very back of the D main, the slowest one. He'd have to win virtually every race of the night to advance. He says he's made a total of $35 since he's been here. It's going to cost a fortune for him to try to do that. The car is still bent up, beat up. They're not even sure how it will perform. So Bobby Allen Jr. for a change says, I've got to look at this as a business. I make a living. He doesn't want to stand around and talk to us because he's not proud of not being on that track tonight. For Allen fans, they'll have to wait till another day, but you can bet sometime right here this man will be in the winner's circle. Scruffy. Nobody works harder.
But right now, the D feature is ready to go, and we've got a bunch of guys here that have qualified not too well. They're going to have to work their way through the field. Roger Rager, Steve, is a veteran of this kind of racing. He's kind of on the comeback trail. You remember a few years back, he ran at Indianapolis with a stock block that was supposed to have come out of a bus. Remember that? Roger is a real colorful guy. He's had some problems over the recent years in getting up among the top runners in sprint car racing, but he's a very talented driver, and it'll be interesting to watch how he fares against these guys. As we said, these are some low-budget race drivers that maybe haven't got the experience or the budgets that some of the big-time race car teams have, like Swindell's, and as we watch the starter getting ready to go one more lap, these guys are hoping just to work their way up. The top two finishers will advance.
And for these guys, that would be a thrill, because the people of Knoxville definitely put on the #1 sprint car race of the year anywhere, and it's about to begin. 10 cars for 10 laps. And in outlaw fashion, I would imagine, Brock Yates, they'll start racing, about out of turn number 3. That's usually where they go hammer down.
That's it. Well, as they circle through turn number 3, you can hear the engines begin to roar. And if they come off turn 4, the hammer down, Doug Clark is thrown to green, and we've got a start.
And we've also got a spin towards the back of the pack. It's the 61A car of Bob Ayton. He has gone into a spin. He's back out on the racetrack. Let's see if that brings out the yellow. Yes, it will. They'll reform them.
So we'll have a restart here as Bob Ayton gets down onto the apron even before he crosses the starting line. Let's see exactly what happened to the Springfield, Missouri driver trying to get going here on the D feature, first race of the night.
And this is not at all unusual in the start of any outlaw race. Watch back in the 4th row. You'll see the 61A car of Bob Ayton. Now as we view from behind, you'll see another car come up and make contact with him. That was the 5T car of Todd Mack. Todd continued on his way, but for Ayton, it was a little spin out into the mud that's accumulated from a lot of rain that has fallen the past few days. But there was no damage to the car, none we could see, and he is rejoined for the restart.
Right, so no damage, and Bob Ayton back in the field as everybody reforms, and of course not a lap completed yet. We've still got 10 to go as the field circulates around down into turn number 3, and I would imagine, Steve, they'll get a green as they come off turn 4.
Well, starter Doug Clark is eyeballing them, and yes, the green flag flies here in the D feature, the first race of the evening in the Coors Knoxville Nationals.
And Bobby Hausman jumps off the outside of the front row to lead him down the back straightaway as Larry Hillerud in that 51L white car rides in second spot.
And a good battle shaping up for that second position, Brock. That is Hillerud, as you said, in the white car 51L. But young T.J. Giddings, the yellow machine there, number 47. He told me earlier he was a little down on power and he was going to make up for it with aggressive driving, and he really is. And what a good racetrack this appears to be.
It's almost perfect, Steve. It's like a great big wet rug that give the race cars just perfect bite all the way around. Notice we're not throwing any mud, no dust. The race cars are going to work this racetrack in through the course of the night where it will become extremely fast.
Well, here's the race for 13th. Remember our friend Bob Ayton, the 61A red car? Well, he's back in that 13th position. Actually, he's at 14th, trying to get 13th from Dave Ecker in the 11E red, white, and blue car. So that spin really cost him a lot of positions on the restart.
Back to the leader, Bobby Hausman from right here in the Hawkeye state of Iowa down the road in Estherville leads it as he sweeps down through turns 3 and 4. And right on his tail is Larry Hillerud, but Larry doesn't seem to be able to make up any distance. There's T.J. Giddings sitting back there in that 3rd spot. Giddings falling back a little bit with that handicap of horsepower. Steve, remember, most of these cars, except I think for one, carry Chevrolet engines, either iron block or custom aluminum blocks, and all fuel injected, running on alcohol, making about 700 horsepower, I'd say.
And they have tremendous torque out of the corners. There's no turbo lag with these machines. You step on the gas and it goes. And I tell you right now, well, there's a car with a Chrysler logo on the front wing, but we checked it to Chevrolet, sponsored by a Chrysler dealer. I don't know.
But anyway, they're about 410 cubic inches, small block Chevys punched out with stroker kits. And boy, as you say, are they bolts of dynamite on 4 wheels. They're rocket ships and very difficult to handle. But right now, T.J. Giddings looks as if he's moving in a little bit on Hillerud.
Well, T.J. is really going for it. And he has to. He's got to finish second or first if he's to transfer. And look at it. T.J. Giddings all right alongside Larry Hillerud, challenging for that second spot.
Well, Hillerud down low now. Giddings will try him up high probably, and then maybe dive down to the inside as I head down into turn number 3. Giddings, no, right in, tucked in behind. Now on the high side of Hillerud. Here goes Giddings, still trying him. Now they're moving up on Joe Kuba in that 55 car. He's a lap car. Let's see how Giddings and Hillerud work on the slower automobile, who could turn out to be kind of an obstacle course. There goes Giddings high. There's Hillerud in that 18 car. And Giddings is by him as they come into turn number 3.
That was a beautiful move by Giddings. With Hillerud backed up behind Kuba, he just made it all work for him. And now he's in a place to where he can transfer to the sea, but he's got to hang on to it. We are on the very last lap. So for T.J. Giddings, you know the man is just holding his breath, hoping to see that checkered flag. Here is the winner, that of Bobby Hausman in the 18B car. And how about it? T.J. Giddings, he said he was down on horsepower, was certainly not skilled. The 47 car will move ahead in the evening's activities. So, looking at the final results, Hausman and Giddings finished 1 and 2, and they'll move on to the C feature. Rounding out the top 5 are Hillerud, Profit, and Rager. Now let's go to Brock with Bobby Hausman.
So Bobby Hausman out of the 18 car transfers right off after that little restart, Bobby, and I just said goodbye to everybody. You got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, the car's working pretty good. You know, we started on the pole. That helps quite a bit.
Sure does.
And track's pretty good. It acts like it's going to dry out, though. But
okay, now you're going to get ready to move into that next one. You going to make any changes on the car?
Oh, we might tighten it up a little bit. It might be getting a little dry out there. So we'll probably stay with the same gear and tire, but we might do a little bit with our wing.
Well, congratulations. Good victory.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You know, it seems appropriate that the biggest sprint car race of the year should have some of the most impressive souvenir stands around. Earlier, I took a look at what's available. There's as big a variety on Souvenir Row here at Knoxville as I have seen at just about any race. How about a framed picture of your favorite sprint car complete with a digital clock? Or if you only want to spend a couple of dollars, how about a picture key fob? Now, moving down a little bit, here is one of about a dozen trailers dispensing T-shirts and hats and various things you might expect. It's the variety that's so incredible. I lost count at about 50 different styles of T-shirts. And of course, as in so many sports, pens are very popular. And there appears to be one issued for just about every sprint car driver out there. And they're very reasonable. I just got an 87 Nationals pen for $3. Ha, you want to step up, huh? You want to really take home something special for yourself or that little boy of yours? Take a look at this. How about a quarter-scale sprint car? Now, these things run about 50 miles an hour. They have all the active suspension of a regular sprint car. In fact, yesterday in downtown Knoxville, they had the mini sprint car nationals. Now, you can have this very car, only been raced twice, never been wrecked, for $1,200. Bet you got to buy the radio stuff yourself.
Well, speaking of money, Steve, this has been a costly few days for this man. This Doug, the Wolfgang. A four-time winner here at the Knoxville Nationals, but so far it's been nothing but bad luck for him.
Well, if he can pull off a fifth this year, the grandstands will go nuts because no driver has more hardcore fans up in those seats than Wolfgang from South Dakota. Now, here's how you get to the main event, the big race we're going to see later on, without going through all of these D, C, and B features. It's based on points and finishes and heat races and earlier features over 4 constant days. Now, Wolfgang, well, he's never really had a break. This was earlier today in the noon qualifying heat. He was running 5th and then blew a tire.
There you see the left rear tire go down, which forced them out of this particular race. Now, normally the Knoxville races are run at night. Now, it could have been that this hot, dry racetrack had an effect on. We had quite a bit of tire problems here, and it could have been that everybody came with a setup to run at night on a cooler, softer racetrack, Steve. But whatever it was, Wolfgang got into a whole lot of trouble right there trying to get that tire changed.
Well, and his fortunes did not improve earlier this afternoon in the B feature. Now, he got a great start and worked himself up to second position when something bad again happened. Brock, I think you found out what it was.
Well, actually, Steve, it was a problem with the oil pressure. A plug came loose in the engine, and the engine lost all its oil, and Doug was out again. Now, remember, if you win one of these 3 features, you move automatically into the top A feature, the Coors Knoxville Nationals title. That happened to Sammy Swindell and also to Steve Kinzer, and here you can see that Doug Wolfgang was definitely moving right up through the field, and this consolation would have headed him on into that feature possibility. But there he comes to the sidelines one more time. So the pressure is absolutely unbearable for Doug Wolfgang right now.
One thing Wolfgang will never do in that 29 car is give up. So now we find him starting 11th in the C feature, and by now you should know the drill. He's got to finish first or second to go to the B. If he gets that far in the top 4, he'll get to the A. So it's really an uphill climb for the Wolf.
Well, Steve, he's got his troubles, but so do a bunch of other guys, including Devlin Polkinghorn from Dodge City, Kansas. He was supposed to be in this race, encountered mechanical problems and will not start, as well as Tim G from way up in the Yukon territory. His number 88 car also sidelined.
But that's good news for number 51, Larry Hillerud. He finished third in the D. Well, he's being used as an alternate here. He races again, and so does number 5, Mike Profit, who finished fourth. Now, 2 will go to the B main event. And who do you look for here, Brock, to maybe come from behind?
Well, we have to have our eyes on that 29 car and Doug Wolfgang, of course. There he is, starting in row 6. And the rest of these fellas, again, it's an outside shot for every one of them, and probably the fellas up front will have the best shot at it. This is a 15-lapper, so that'll give Wolfgang plenty of opportunity to move up, as perhaps Bobby Hausman and T.J. Giddings. They've just had a chance quickly to throw a splash of fuel in their tanks and get right back out on the racetrack.
All right, as they continue to circle around, coming out onto the main straightaway, and starter Doug Clark says one more time, one more pace lap. And speaking of laps, Brock, in qualifying, the quickest time we saw 16.2 seconds by Californian Jimmy Sills. We'll see him later tonight in the A main. That's what, an average of 111 miles an hour, maybe 120 to 130 down the straights?
Yeah, absolutely. These faster guys won't lift the throttle at all on this entire half mile. As we see them bunched up in turn number 3, the throttles are buried. They're coming off that final corner and heading for the green.
And leading them down into turn number 1 will be the black machine, number 2H of Andy Hillenberg. There you see Andy pitching it sideways. And already Wolf is on the move, the number 29 car pushing his way through. And he is about to take the number 3 spot from the number 4 car, the red machine of Marlon Jones. Wolfman driving like a man possessed. It's his last shot.
He's got to finish first or second in this event in order to advance on a long ladder toward his 5th title. There he is, clear of traffic right now, has his sights set on 2nd place.
And here is the race for 5th place. 8T Van May, who was high up as 3rd and fell back. Steve Perry in the red 12P car, and then also red 70 Richard Griffin. That's all for 5th spot.
And look at Griffin way up on the marbles. Almost gets it into the fence in turn number 2. But regains control and carries on, but lost some valuable distance.
And he lost it to the man in the red 12P car, Steve Perry, who takes a firmer grasp on that 5th position, but he's got to move up to 2nd if he's to race again tonight. Here's 2 guys side by side for the 6th spot. That is 18 Van May. That is the white car on the outside, but suddenly Richard Griffin in the 70 red car just shoots ahead.
Griffin's really driving like a wild man, putting on a super show, riding high, all low, all over the racetrack. As we watch Wolfgang, there he is setting his sights on 17E. That's Chris Eash, currently holding on to 2nd place.
Well, Van May in the white 8 car, he continues to slip away. There's the 1X machine of Joey Allen right alongside and takes 7th place away from Van.
So Joey Allen is driving hard here. He's got a long way to go, though. Don't forget, we hate to repeat ourselves, but 1-2 is all that counts here. And right now, that is the man challenging the 29 car, trying to get by East. That is Doug Wolfgang, and he does. He now has 2nd place in this event. So if he can hold on to that or move up, he will advance into the next race, and his long uphill climb will continue. But look at this. East is not giving up, Steve.
No, he's not, Brock, but he is being held up a little bit by that other yellow car, 88H Bob Hopp. That's a car, he's a lap down, and he's trying to move out of his way. Finally, Chris Each gets free of him, but Doug Wolfgang, he kind of got away from him here, now running solidly in 2nd place and going after the leader.
Right. A good break for Wolfgang right there. Probably the first one he's had for the last couple of days, as that slower car held up Each and gives Wolfgang a nice clean shot at the leader. Up high, off turn number 2. That car is working perfectly all the way around the racetrack, Steve.
But now he has got to lap the 47 car of T.J. Giddings and the 18B car, that burgundy machine of Bobby Hausman. You remember them from the D feature. He's got to get around them to continue his chase on Hillenberg, and he got by both of them.
Beautiful move by Wolfgang. Wolfgang driving like the master he is in this particular event. Boy, he's just burning up the racetrack. Beautiful. Whoa!
We got a tangle in turn number 1. The blue car of Joey Allen, the red car of Richard Griffin. Griffin is right side up. Allen is on his side. He rolled over kind of gently. I doubt in these well-built cars that there's any injury involved, but for sure the red flag is out to stop this C feature event.
So everybody comes to a halt on the main straightaway. The red flag flies. the emergency vehicle getting underway just to make sure everybody's all right out there. But there comes Joey Allen out of his wrecked car, and of course Richard Griffin already out of his.
And they should have the track cleared in a moment. You know, Brock, this fairgrounds is more than just a great racetrack. Earlier, I toured the convenient accommodations for out-of-town guests.
You want to stay really close to the action on your visit to the Knoxville Nationals? Don't book one of those expensive hotel rooms in downtown Des Moines. I mean, it's over 40 miles away, when for $7 a night you can camp out right here at the fairgrounds. They can accommodate up to 750 units, whether you've got a tent, a van, a motorhome. It really doesn't matter. But you got to be quick on this one, because all of these spots go on sale Saturday before the race at 8 a.m., and they're generally sold out by noon. Or if you'd like to stay here all summer and go to all 25 races, you can rent a spot for $150 for about 4 months. And if you don't have a self-contained unit, don't worry. They've got showers, they've got a restaurant open all night. And speaking of restaurants, a little later on, I'm going to bring you what I consider to be one of the finest eating suggestions ever at a race.
Well, the safety crews have cleared the bent-up race cars of Richard Griffin and Joey Allen, and it looks like we're about ready to go green. Now, Andy Hillenberg has got to be thinking of Doug Wolfgang back there in second place, Brock. I can't imagine that the Wolf plans to stay in that position for very long.
No, he certainly won't. He's got the bit in his teeth right now, so he wants to take the victory. In addition, not only for pride and a few extra bucks, but it'll also advance him one more spot in the starting position in the next race. So he got a green, and here they come off turn number 4 down that front straightaway, and you can see Wolfgang diving low, trying to take the lead.
The first guy in your picture, the 2-8, that's Andy Hillenberg. He is leading it. And Doug Wolfgang, 29, who, as I said, has battled from 11th to 2nd, is right there. I don't know, Brock, with the kind of weekend he's had so far, Wolfgang may be satisfied with 2nd here.
It's very possible as we watch Hillenberg ride high through that second turn. And it looks like you might be right. No, the Wolf goes low. He'd take it if he could, but Hillenberg's doing a super job of holding him off. The race car handling well that black number 2 as he rides a high groove. Wolfgang gets in a little bit on him in the corners, but it looks as if Hillenberg can hold him off on these long straightaways here.
Well, and also, I think Wolfgang has a lot of confidence in Andy Hillenberg as a driver. He knows that Hillenberg at this point is not going to risk taking them both out just for a defensive measure here.
Nope, from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, Andy Hillenberg riding in the number 1 spot. And right now, Wolfgang has fallen off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, but he's really in no jeopardy of losing that 2nd position as long as he can keep all 4 wheels on the automobile. He has really put a lot of distance on the rest of the field, as has Hillenberg.
Well, I think now that Wolfgang is definitely settled for that 2nd spot. He apparently wants to maximize the time he's got in the pits. You'll watch him dive off the racetrack, I would imagine, and head right for his pits to get the car set up for the next race because he doesn't have a whole lot of time left.
Well, you know what that white flag means. This is the last circuit in this particular race here at Knoxville, Iowa. And look at Wolfgang. He is still just kind of teasing Hillenberg a little bit, trying him left, trying him right. Just, I think, experimenting more than anything else, Brock, with the racetrack for the next race to come.
Well, whatever. Hillenberg will take the checker right there. And Doug Wolfgang, though, his objective in the short term at least reached because he will advance with a 2nd place finish here in this feature.
And here is the 2H car of Andy Hillenberg. He knows right now that he's got to get to the pits. His crew's got to get working on the tire pressure, maybe change the oil, adjust the wing or whatever to get it going again.
This is a young man who just started his career in sprint car racing, has a lot of talent and a lot of future, a lot of people say. So Hillenberg got to feel good that he held off one of the masters here at Knoxville. Chris Eash holds on to take 3rd. Perry Armstrong round out the top 5. So the ante is up for Wolfgang and Hillenberg, who will advance into the 22-lap B feature. Right now, Steve Evans is down on pit row with Andy Hillenberg. Let's go to Steve and Andy.
Well, anytime you can go home to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and tell them that you held off a hungry wolf, Doug Wolfgang, as you did, Andy Hillenberg, has got to give you some kind of a thrill and a lot of encouragement for the rest of the night.
Well, it feels nice to outrun somebody good always, but I just hope we can hang on to it maybe and go pretty good in the next race and see what we can do from there.
Well, you don't have any rear view mirrors, but I can tell you he was not catching you those last 6 laps after the restart.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. It makes us feel a little better.
Track working good for you?
Yeah, the car seems real hooked up right now. We, made a couple of adjustments and a little bit of guesswork. And I mean, it's tried some stuff new and it worked real well.
Apparently it did. And we'll see you now in what, the B?
The B feature, I guess so.
Okay, good luck there.
Thanks a lot.
Talk about pressure on a driver and a crew. This is the Doug Wolfgang pit as they prepare that number 29 car for the next hurdle to Knoxville win number 5, the B feature. It's time for the B feature.
Boy, Steve, we got some heavy hitters on the front row. Rick Unger from Indianapolis, Shane Carson, one of the good runners, Danny Smith, Bob East. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, if our man, the Wolf, can make his way through this field, Keith Kaufman, from way in the back, it'll be one of the major feats in sprint car racing history. There's Jack Haudenchild. This field is just dotted with heavy hitters, Steve. Great field, really.
And to find Doug Wolfgang, well, that is going to have to continue to roll to just about there. He is in row number 11, dead last on the outside of the very last pair of cars, the number 29 car. And we're coming around for a start as they come out of turn number 3, headed into turn 4. That is usually where they see that first hint of green, and the throttles are down. The B feature underway.
And the big pressure race for Doug Wolfgang has already started, Steve.
He is past the 2H car, the black machine of Andy Hillenberg, also the 1J white car of Jamie Moyle, and right there he goes around the 6M red car of Tim Munson. Look at the Wolf. He is on a howl.
He is, as he threads his way through traffic. But the leaders right now, number 10, Shane Carson, 7W, Rick Unger, and in third spot, Danny Smith.
And here again is the 29 car of Doug Wolfgang. Look at him pull right between those two cars. He is trying to get the 20 car. That is Kerry Gray, and if he does, he'll be moved into the 17th position.
So the leaders continue to be Carson, Unger, and Smith, but Wolfgang, running in the back of the pack, works his way up front. There he comes down the front straightaway, going wide, challenging that 20 car of Gray. Can he get him? Oh, boy, is he running hard, Steve.
Well, Wolfgang appears to get the 20 car. That'll move him into the 17th spot. Yes, he's by that orange machine. Next in front of him is Ray Lipsy, and he is no easy pickings, the 45 white car. If he can get by him, he'll be up to 60.
Well, there he goes by Drotz in the 28 car, and right ahead of, no, right by Lipsy, like he is standing still in the 45 car.
And next on his list, 4C, the white machine, that is Todd Bishop. That would be for the 14th position. Let's remember he started in 22nd, and this is a 22-lap race. He's making good progress considering the distance traveled so far.
Right ahead of him are Todd Bishop and Tommy Scott, riding in the 13th and 14th spots, so they are his next challenge. There he goes, right by Tommy Scott in the 74 car for 14th spot. Next in line, Todd Bishop. Can he do it?
Well, he's got a few car lengths to make up here, but look how quickly that car comes off the turns, Brock, just like a rocket. As I said, there's no turbo lag with these 400-inch motors. You stand on the pedal of Wolfgang's motor, and you get action right now.
Down low he goes to take Todd Bishop. He's now in the 13th spot. Ahead of him is the orange number 2 of Jack Haudenchild in the, there he is, Haudenchild in the 2 car, and look at Wolfgang drive up on Haudenchild.
And here's some guys that may hear from the Wolf before this is over. The 12 car black machine of Bob East, and 33 the white car of Joe Garrity. That's the battle there for the 4th position. The 880 car of Keith Kaufman, and black of Jeff Gordon, the 40 machine, that's 6th and 7th respectively.
So a lot of trouble ahead for Wolfgang because some of the really fast runners are up there. As we watch that race go on, there's Garrity in the 33, moves for trying to challenge for the 4th spot.
And in that 4th position is the beautiful black car. That is car number 12, driven by Bob East, and so far he's holding off the veteran Joe Garrity. Not only a fine driver, but a brilliant engine builder. But look at Garrity go by.
So Joe Garrity takes over that 4th spot. And right behind him, the 880 car of Keith Kaufman, one of the best Pennsylvania drivers. Whoa! Moved right in on East and almost touched wheels there as they head through turn number 3. Kaufman moves underneath East to take over that 5th spot.
But East challenges right back on the inside. Kaufman, however, finally asserts himself and will take over that 5th position.
Remember now, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the critical positions here in this race. Only they will advance to the A feature.
And here is 29, Doug Wolfgang. He has now moved up to 10th position and is closing in on 10T, the orange car, Jeff Tuttle. He has got Tuttle. He is now in the 9th spot. And in front of him now is a tough little customer. That is Johnny Herrera in the 45X car. He sees Wolfgang out of his left eye and is going to do his level best to hold him off. But no, Doug Wolfgang has now moved into 8th.
Doug Wolfgang continues this incredible charge. His next target, the 12 car Bob East, the black automobile, as Wolfgang moves under him to take over 7th spot.
Well, he has got 7th and now looks for more. In the 6th position, the 40 car, the black machine of Jeff Gordon. Can he hold off Wolfgang? Can anybody hold off Wolfgang?
That's the big question right now as Wolfgang goes high. Gordon low. Right in front of him, Keith Kaufman in the 880 car. Kaufman and Gordon holding him off briefly, but there he goes by Gordon on the high side. And the next mark is the 880 car, Keith Kaufman.
Let's see what kind of line Kaufman takes to protect his territory. There is no protecting it from Doug Wolfgang. Wolfgang just snips right underneath him as if he never even saw him coming. He's in the 5th spot, Brock.
He sure is, and moving, really moving. Got a clear track right now, Steve, so that'll give him a chance to move up on the leaders. As now he heads down into turn number 1 and moves past a couple of lap cars. That's 6M, Jim Munson, and Bruce Drotz in the white number 28.
Now, as far as our leader is concerned, Shane Carson, the blue 10 car from Oklahoma City, there he is, and right now even he should fear for his position the way Wolfgang is charging through this field.
So Shane Carson continues to lead it, but all eyes are on the 29 automobile as he moves in on Joe Garrity to challenge for that 4th spot. Remember, that is the magic spot. That will guarantee him a starting spot in the A feature. Critical pass coming up here if he can get by. Moves low through turn number 1 and takes Garrity in the 33 car to move into the 4th spot. What a comeback.
And you'd think right now the Wolf would back off. No, sir. The higher he finishes here, if he can finish 3rd, 2nd, 1st, it means he'll start better in the A main if he can continue this kind of pace. So in front of him still is Danny Smith, the 6R car. Wolfgang so far unable to get around him for that 3rd spot. But look at this. He's going to try him on the inside. Say goodbye to Danny Smith.
So Doug Wolfgang into 3rd place and his sights set on the 2nd place automobile. A tremendous drive toward the front as we watch Wolfgang come down into turn number 1. That big, beautiful broad slide. That car hooked up absolutely perfectly.
Brock, I hate to say it, but the left rear tire looks like it's going flat on Wolfgang's car. We saw a left rear tire failing earlier in a qualifying race, and he may be having the same problem right now. It just doesn't look like it's got the right amount of pressure in it. You can see the car listing there to the left.
Well, we got a caution flag as well, but that won't help Wolfgang. There's only a few laps left in this race. It looks, yes, that's Bob East in the 12 car. He is stalled coming off turn 2, so that will bring out the caution flag, but certainly not enough time for Doug Wolfgang to do anything at all to make a recovery here, if in fact that tire's down. It's hard to say, but when he went by here last, it definitely looked like it was soft.
Oh, Brock, it was soft. Now, whether it was so soft, you'll have to change it. Doug Wolfgang coming into the pits, the 29 car. Oh, man, the luck this man has not had this weekend is unbelievable. Wolfgang coming in for a left rear tire. Apparently, it was too far gone to continue.
As Bob East's car has moved off the track, Doug Wolfgang's crew is going to work changing that left rear tire. But you know, Brock, with so little time left in the race, it's almost impossible for him to come back. I mean, it would take a miracle, in fact, for him to make it into the A feature now. But the fans certainly are not giving up on the Wolf.
Right now, Shane Carson, Rick Unger, Danny Smith, and Joe Garrity are the guys that will advance into that prestigious feature race, and unless, as you say, a miracle happens for Doug Wolfgang, he's finished for the day.
Well, the field has restarted, only 2 laps to go, and there's only 4 happy drivers out there right now. Those are the top 4, led by Shane Carson in the 10 blue car. They're the only 4 that are going to go to the A main, and that's where the big payoff is in the Coors Knoxville Nationals. Right now, it's Carson, Rick Unger, Danny Smith, and Joe Garrity in that order in the top 4.
So, as this race unwinds, here comes Shane Carson. Final lap in the 10 car from Oklahoma City. And unless he gets it totally crossed up here in turns 3 and 4, he will beat Rick Unger to the line by a substantial margin.
Shane Carson, who does not follow the entire World of Outlaws tour, will take an important checkered flag. Here he goes to the A main. The reason he doesn't run all the races, Brock, as you know, he is the promoter at the beautiful facility on the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds. They run sprint cars, they run lots of stuff there, and not a nicer facility anywhere in the country, not a nicer guy than the man in number 10.
Well, Shane's got to be happy because he moves into that prestigious A main and gets himself a shot at his first ever victory here in the Coors Knoxville Nationals. And remember, victory in that A main coming up is worth right on $30,000. So a lot of serious players are going to run real hard for that, including this man, Shane Carson, as he heads into the pits, taking this well-deserved victory here. So Shane Carson wins it, Rick Unger second, Danny Smith and Joe Garrity move into the A main. Johnny Herrera, a good, strong 5th place, but not enough to get him into the big event. And of course, a man absent from this listing is Whiz Steve.
I doubt that any of us can imagine the disappointment Doug Wolfgang feels, a 4-time winner, and you know that this crowd was behind you all weekend long, just trying to pull you home.
Well, I race all over the country, but I very seldom race anywhere near my hometown, and this is within 4 or 5 hours of my hometown. A lot of these folks here are my home folks, country folks, and I learned how to drive sprint cars on a weekly basis right here at this track, so a lot of the fans are with me here. It really makes me feel good to come back here.
In that B main, before the tire went down, you looked like you were going to get in the top 4. You had a shot at it.
Yeah, I think we were 3rd at the time, and I was locked down solid. I think we'd have been all right. I actually think if I would have finished, ifs don't count, but I think I could have had a run at the main event even.
You had that much horsepower, that good a chassis setup?
We were, in that B, we were locked in nice. I mean, I don't think the track will change that much from now on out, and we were going real good. Once I lost a little bit of fuel and got some warmth in the tires, I was going to the front there in the B main. Of course, the B main's the B main, it's not the main event, so I felt pretty good right then.
Thanks for talking with us. We appreciate it. We'll see you next year.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Well, we're sure glad we did come. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen that sensational drive by Doug Wolfgang that ended with disappointment, but you can be sure he will be back. All right, as the fans settle in for the last race of the night, remember Steve promised us a feature on his dining habits? How about this?
Well, here's my 4-star dining suggestion while you're visiting the Knoxville Nationals. Come about 50 yards across the street from the campground where you find these great big flaming cookers. Now, Iowa raises a lot of corn, right? Well, they feed it to some of the finest hogs in the world, and look at the pork sizzling up here. 12-ounce pork chops, pork patties, and it all smells so good because the cooker is loaded up with hickory. Oh, I can't resist. I'm going in. This is all done by the Marion County pork producers, and the ladies in here tell me that before the weekend is out, they'll dispense about 3,000 pounds of pork. Let me have a pork chop. Could I? Okay. A little bit later, I'll have some suggestions for what to do after the races. How much is that?
$2.75.
$2.75 for a 12-ounce pork chop?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could live here.
Good.
How much with a drink?
Quarter more. It's $3.
Can I have a drink?
Sure.
This is unbelievable.
I'll tell you what. Even without the great dining and the right next door accommodations, there are few facilities that can hold a candle to the Marion County Fairgrounds during the Coors Knoxville Nationals. Now, we've seen some great racing so far, but coming up is the main event every driver dreams of winning.
This is the man, Steve Kinser, on the pole. And Steve, you won this race so many times, but still, it would be special. In fact, if you win it again, you'll hold that record.
Well, that'd make it awful special. I'd be the only person that's won this race 5 times if I can pull it off here tonight. And we got the ideal starting spot. Just hope we can get out in the lead and keep it there all the way.
The competition is saying that you've got maybe a 25 or 30 horsepower advantage over anybody else. You think that's true?
I don't know. Our motors are definitely hitting hard. I don't think we got that much horsepower everybody else. I think just the knowledge of me and Carl working together and been together so many years, we just click things off, and I think we know how to read the racetracks maybe just a touch better. And I'm not saying we're down on any horsepower either.
Good luck on ending this weekend in grand style.
Thank you. I hope we do it.
Okay, Steve Kinser. Brock?
Well, Steve, as the cars continue to warm up out on the racetrack, I'm with Jeff Swindell, who's going to start on the outside of the front row next to Steve Kinser, based on 4th quick qualifying time, a really strong victory in his heat, and a 4th place finish in the feature. But, Jeff, I know you reckon you could have done a whole lot better in that feature than 4th.
Yeah, well, we had to start 7th, and Steve started beside us. We got a good start. We took off. We started running through them. It looked like we were going to go right to the front immediately. About 7 or 8 laps in, we had the thing got real loose. We didn't know what it was. We come in and checked it out. There's a heim that holds the right rear suspension to the axle, and it froze against the bolt. It wouldn't let the right rear suspension work, so it got the car really loose, and it just wouldn't come off the corner. We held on to 4th, and Steve went on to win the race, but you know, it was enough. we got enough points through all the other qualifying events, and so put us on the front row outside. That's really the place we want to be for the feature tonight.
Well, I know that Tommy Sanders and the guys from Gambler tell me that you all worked on the car and you figure you got that sorted out now.
Yeah, I think so. Tommy and Charlie Fisher and them came over and helped me out a pretty good bit. This is a new 87 style car, and I haven't been running very many sprint car races this year. This car is a little different than most of them. So there's a few little pointers that they kind of showed to me that Steve and Doty and a bunch of the guys are doing. So it's helped me out a lot, and I think they've been a big asset.
Well, we're going to be watching, and the best of luck in the feature, Jeff.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Steve?
Starting outside in the second row, the brilliant red car, number 6 of Bobby Davis Jr. And Bobby, you found out here, unfortunately, earlier this season, back in April, that traffic can play a big part in your success. You were leading the race, and all of a sudden, what happened?
Well, we was leading the race, like you said, and we went in turn 1, and we was lapping a lap car, and it was really rough that night. And he just started bouncing. I passed him, actually, and he started bouncing in front of me, and he kind of come back underneath me, and I run over his right rear tire, and we got in a fence pretty hard.
Did you learn something about the track and about that kind of maneuvering that day, that night?
Well, no, everybody was kind of jumping around that night, and it was just a basic rough racetrack, and it was really fast that night, so I think it was just one of them things that happened, really.
With all the prestige and all the money on the line, would you expect a very physical race?
Yeah, it'll be physical, and everybody will be 100% out for it.
Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go back a little ways in the field, and Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, I'm with the fastest man ever at this fabled Lowell Speedway. Jimmy Sills set the absolute track record here in qualifying at a 16:23, which is well over 110 miles an hour on a half mile. A prodigious feat indeed. And first of all, Jimmy, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Brock. It represents a great high in my career.
Well, to run against a whole bunch of top guys like this, to come in here and qualify anywhere near the front, I know would be a big honor, but to set the absolute track record, the car was working terrifically, but I know you had some problems in your heat race. Have you got it corrected now?
Yeah, we changed it for the B main. We missed a transfer through the heat and had to run the B, and we got it worked out, and the car felt real good then. And I think our racetrack we have tonight will be pretty close to that, so I think we're in good shape.
Good. So you'll start on the outside of the third row, a good starting position, and within 30 laps, I guess you just got to charge to the front as quick as you can.
Well, yeah, there's some heavy hitters starting up in front of me, and we're going to have to be real fast and take every opportunity I have to get to the front.
Well, we sure wish you luck, and again, congratulations on that lap record.
Thank you, Brock.
Okay. Jimmy Sills. Steve?
This man, Ronnie Schumann, will be starting on the outside of row number 4 in the 7R car. And Ron, you know what it means to a driver to win this race. Can you express it?
Well, I guess it'd be like winning the Indianapolis of, this is the Indianapolis of sprint cars. It'd be like winning the Indy 500. There's a lot of other 500-mile races and big races in Indy cars, but nothing's like Indy, and nothing's like winning the Knoxville National.
You know, as I walked up, I could see you were in deep thought. What's going through your mind?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, every night the racetrack's different, and we were pretty good last night, and I'm trying to figure out what we need to do different for tonight.
Let's help you find it.
I think we need to do a little searching.
Okay. Brock Yates?
Well, Steve, as you know, the starting positions in the A main are determined by 3 factors: qualifying times, heat race, and a feature race. And Sammy Swindell is going to start on the inside of the 7th row. Did super in his 2 races, won them both, but didn't qualify very well. Sammy, 20th. That's kind of a surprise for you.
Well, yeah, we usually don't qualify that bad, but the track got a little better. We went out, we were like the 6th car out. The track got a little faster, so it made a lot of guys that, normally would out qualify pretty easily, got right in there. But we didn't have the car quite right either, so we had a little push, but, we took care of that right after we come back in.
Sammy Swindell. Steve?
This young man, Brad Doty, will soon join his compatriots out on this racetrack in the 18 car outside of the 7th row. Tough position.
Yeah, we got a long way to go. We're just going to try to charge the front and do everything we can.
Be a big career boost.
Sure would. Kins are starting on the front row, and if we can drive by him, it'd be really good, wouldn't it?
Grab your hat. We'll see you then.
Okay, thank you.
This is the famous World of Outlaws 4 abreast pace lap as we get ready to start the biggest sprint car race in history, the Coors Knoxville Nationals. The folks, they love this start, and look at this. The wave comes to Knoxville, Iowa, Steve Evans.
That's right. The fans, they're saluting the racers as well. It's always a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful night on a tremendous racetrack. Number 1 on the pole, Steve Kinser. Boy, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch him, Brock. Jeff Swindell says he can run with him. Bobby Davis Jr. hopes that he can.
Mark Kinser, one of the Kinser family. Jimmy Sills, the quick man here. Dave Blaney, Ron Schumann, who says he's got some problems, not too confident. Kelly Kinser in the 20K car. We've seen him run well here. Sammy Swindell, we know how good he is. Alongside him, Brad Doty.
Swindell, however, a few weeks ago hit the wall head-on his home track in Memphis. The steering broke in his car, and he is driving with a very sore shoulder. He said it's painful every inch of the way. Right.
We just saw Shane Carson and Rick Unger dominate this B main. Danny Smith, remember, he ran third. Joe Garrity fourth there. That's a good field. Believe me, there's some very strong runners out here. But as you said, can anybody catch that 11 car? Remember, he said the combination, Steve Kinser and his uncle Carl Kinser, this is nearly a decade that they've run together. And boy, I'll tell you what, nobody knows the combination better than that pair.
30 laps of racing. This is what the crowd came to see. The A main, the Knoxville Nationals. Steve Kinser on the pole, Jeff Swindell outside in the orange car, and it is Steve Kinser leading them into turn 1, out of turn 2. Trying to stay low is Jeff Swindell, but he is past Brock.
He sure is. It's Bobby Davis Jr., another Memphis race driver, one of the best ones, taking over the second spot. And leading lap number 1, Steve Kinser. Right behind him, Bobby Davis Jr. And look at this, Jimmy Sills challenges Swindell for the third spot.
Just a ballet going on for that third spot. First one is high, then the other one high. That is Jimmy Sills being challenged on the inside by Jeff Swindell, the 1 car, and this time Sills takes it over. He is in the 3rd position.
Now watch Jeff Swindell, Steve. He's running very low on this racetrack. The fast guys seem to be able to run that high groove, but here comes Jeff back again. But Sills stays high and holds on to that 3rd spot.
Well, it appears that he scrubs off so much speed staying low like that, Brock, that he can make up a few car lengths in the turn, but he loses it right back on the straightaway. Doesn't have the momentum coming out of the corner.
Well, that's a handling problem. I'm sure Jeff would like to run high if the race car would permit him. There's the 51 car. That is Mark Kinser, now moving into challenge Swindell.
And that red 56 car you saw, Kenny Jacobs, he is back in the 6th position. But the battle right now between Mark Kinser and Jeff Swindell. Swindell is trying to go high now to take that line. He gets a little bit too high up into the marbles. The 51 car, Mark Kinser, goes underneath and takes the position.
Now here is the 18 car of Brad Doty, one of the favorites in this race. He's sitting in the 11th spot. He is chasing Kelly Kinser in that 20K car. Right behind them in the 12th spot is Lee Brewer in the number 1 car. There is Leland Spadden getting high and almost losing it in turn number 4. And Lee Brewer bounces off him, but keeps on going, and no yellow, Steve.
No yellow, both drivers continue. But the 1ST white car driven by Lee Brewer, they lost the positions. They were running in 12th, had that little brush up with McSpadden, and that put them back a few places.
So here comes Lee trying to make up some distance. That yellow car, that 49 car, is Danny Lasowski, who is from Dover, Missouri, trying to move through the field. The field is spread out all the way around. There's the leader, Steve, the 11 car, Steve Kinser, and he is now moving through lap traffic.
That is the 2S car, the white machine of Steve Siegel. He now goes a lap down, and coming up in Kinser's sights will be the 1ST car of Lee Brewer, had that little problem with McSpadden, and also the 6R white car of Danny Smith. Those are the next 2 cars that he will attempt to lap. When you get into this kind of traffic, though, suddenly your lead can erode pretty quickly.
Oh, and it can be destroyed, as we saw happen with Bobby Davis Jr. in an earlier race there. So he has to be very cautious threading his way through these slower automobiles.
And there's a lot of them. He's got Shane Carson in the 10 car, you can see right there, and on the inside, the 1ST, the white machine of Lee Brewer, as they fling themselves into turn 1, and Kinser puts a couple of wheels in the infield, maybe a little too anxious trying to get around, and here comes Brad Doty. Doty in the number 18 car, the blue and silver machine. Really, Brock has not moved up as much as he had hoped to early on. He's 10th, chasing that white machine of Dave Blaney, the 48 car.
So Dave Blaney sitting in 9th spot right now is giving Brad Doty all he asked for is they sweep down into turn number 1, and Doty goes low. Can he do it? Yes. Moves by Blaney and takes over that 9th spot. So Brad Doty, for the time being, continues to move through the field. But look at this. Dave Blaney comes right back at Doty on the low side, Steve, and may take that 9th spot back.
But Doty had far more acceleration out of the turn, Brock. He's going to make up for any maneuver that Blaney may have made going low. Now, Blaney is going to try the same kind of a philosophy on Brad Doty, but Doty is going to hold on to that position.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more power than Dave tonight, and that car's really well hooked up. So Doty rides a 9th spot here.
He is closing on 24D, that gray machine of Ronnie Daniels. Daniels in the 8th position. Brad is starting to execute very well here now. So far, he has not had to contend with a whole lot of traffic. He's been able to pick his spots and doing it beautifully.
So there is Brad Doty in the 18 car, moving into challenge for that 8th spot. Doty using that cushion perfectly as he rides that high groove. There is the 24 car, Ronnie Daniels. And Daniels right now is about a 6-car length lead on Doty, and we'll see whether he can hold it.
Brock, we have got a caution flag out all of a sudden. The yellow flag is waving. The lights are on around the circuit. It does not appear to be any kind of a crash. We have just got a car. In fact, Joe Garrity, the white 33 car, is up against the wall in turn number 2. He's in a rather dangerous position, so wisely they put up the yellow. The cars will circulate around until he gets towed in.
So, tough break for Joe Garrity. That'll put him out of the contest, so to speak. 16 laps are left. Steve Kinzer continues to circulate here. And now, while we got a little break in the action, why don't we go to Steve Evans, who continues his tour, Duncan Hines tour of Knoxville.
Dingus Bar, not 100 yards from the fence in turn number 1. And it's here that a lot of the fans, and crews for that matter, like to come after the races, have a couple of brewskis, bench race a bit about what happened. But don't come in here looking for fried cheese or nachos or a nice glass of French Chablis. This is a real man's kind of a bar. If it's cold beer you want, you've come to the right place. Or maybe a good pool challenge back in the room, or stuff some quarters into the jukebox. And on the walls you'll find a lot of sprint car memorabilia, posters and so forth. In fact, they even sponsor one of the cars. You know, this used to be considered a little bit of a rowdy joint, but that all ended with the drought of '81. That brought a stop to the wet t-shirt competition.
And a black day it was here in Knoxville, as we're almost ready to get started again. They cleared away Garrity, towed him into the infield, and we've got the standings. Kinzer, Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinzer, Jimmy Sills, and Jeff Swindell, top 5 here. So all have a shot at the victory with 16 more laps under green, all set to start. So Steve Kinzer leads him down the back straightaway and gets on the throttle into turn number 3. Steve Evans.
Now that red 7 TW car right there, that is the lap car of Rick Unger. To go back and find second place, let's see how far we have to do it. Bobby Davis Jr. in the 6th red car right there. So Steve Kinzer has a significant lead right after the restart. And also, back in the field a bit, some good battles going on. The 51 white car, Mark Kinzer right there. He's in the 3rd position. Jimmy Sills, the track record holder, trying to take that away. Also, Jeff Swindell involved there. That's the best race on the track right now.
It sure is. And really, second place is up for grabs, as Steve Kinzer's got himself a clear track right now and is able to move out a little bit. But look at Jans, Kinzer, and Jimmy Sills go at it.
Well, Sills appears to have that combination back that he ran so well with in qualifying. He's not up front, but he certainly is challenging back in that 4th position. And he and Mark Kinzer having quite a tussle here. The orange car and the white 51 machine. Now, Sills almost got into the right rear wheel of Kinzer, but he stood on the brakes just for a second and got away from him. That cost him a little bit of speed. He's now trying to make that up by out-driving Kinzer through the turns.
But Mark Kinzer showing all the savvy of a veteran. In fact, some of the savvy of that older cousin of his who's leading the race. Goes down low. Jimmy Sills stuck in a little bit of traffic and loses some places here, or loses a little bit of an advantage as he dives underneath Danny Lasowski to stay right on Mark Kinzer's tail. Well, these guys working their way through slower traffic. As we said earlier, Steve Kinzer has himself a relatively open track up ahead.
What a testimony to the skill of these drivers, Brock, to put this many of them out here on this giant racetrack, put up the kind of money they're racing for, the prestige, and not have it get any more physical than it is. They're just so skilled, they're just keeping away from confrontations by good driving.
Well, they don't like to bump into each other either, Steve, as these cars are so fast and so twitchy that one miscue, you can put yourself right into the fence. As Brad Doty goes way up against the fence in turn number 1, to take that 9th spot away from Ronnie Daniels. They've been struggling the whole race, Steve.
Now, the white car we see there is 2S Steve Siegel. He's a lap car. Sammy Swindell had a terrific restart and is up to 7th position. That is the one car. He is running all by himself out there right now in 7th. But look at Ronnie Daniels in the 24 car. He has retaken 9th position from 18 Brad Doty. Doty doesn't like that at all, but gets squeezed up against the fence and has to lift.
Well, Ronnie Daniels is taking that low side on this racetrack and holding off Doty, but there comes Doty back at him up on top again. What a race.
And just behind them, that's the leader, Steve Kinser, the 11 car. He is about to lap all of them. You talk about insult to injury to be running as hard as Brad Doty is and get lapped by the leader.
Well, it just shows how just potent that combination of the Kinsers is, as that 11 car just working absolutely perfectly. Here he comes, that beautiful high-riding number 11 car as he comes by Daniels and now moves in on Brad Doty. Down underneath Doty and takes him relatively easily, Steve. That's hard to believe, isn't it? As you say, as hard as Brad seems to be running.
Oh, yeah, and you're right. The combination of the Carl Kinser horsepower and chassis. Look at this race for the 4th position. There's 1T, the orange car of Jeff Swindell. And here, 56 red, Kenny Jacobs gets underneath them. And Jimmy Sills also for that 4th position.
So, Jacobs running very well as Jeff Swindell and Jimmy Sills seem to be faltering a little bit. It could be tire wear, it's hard to say, but both of them who started very well have now fallen off the pace a little bit.
And you wonder why Jimmy Sills, who qualified number 1, can't match those kind of times? Well, that was another day and another racetrack. These tracks have a different personality every day, depending on the rain, the wind, the heat. It's all a big factor.
It sure is, and you've got to guess right. And remember, that's what Steve Kinser said with you, Steve. He said, maybe Carl and I are a little bit better than reading these racetracks than anybody else. And that is such a critical factor because not only will the racetracks change, but the setup changes throughout the race. And a guy like Kinser can make cockpit adjustments, oftentimes maybe a little bit better than anybody else. There he is. There's your leader, running an absolute masterful race here at Knoxville.
Even the wings on these cars are cockpit adjustable. And as they go into the turns right there, you can see the wing go down a few degrees to get the downforce in the turns where they want it. Now as Steve Kinser, who is lapping Jeff Swindell, goes down the straightaway, he'll take that tilt back out of the wing.
Well, Jeff's car is not working well at all. You can see him bobble going into that corner. So Swindell falling off the pace, obviously with a car that is not handling. Believe it, Steve, any one of 1,000 little things can go wrong with these things to make them not work right.
Steve Kinser is just about 17 seconds away from history. He could be, this is the last lap, he could be the winningest driver in the history of the Coors Knoxville Nationals at 5. And right now, Brock, I'd bet on it.
Well, he can coast on from here as he comes down low through turn number 3, sweeps high off turn 4, and takes the checkered flag. A dominating performance by Steve Kinser off the pole to lead every lap. Well, you saw it, an exercise in sprint car domination by Steve Kinser. Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinser, Kenny Jacobs, and Jimmy Sills round out the top 5 in this prestigious field. And now let's go to Steve with the winner.
30 laps of perfect driving have made Steve Kinser the winningest racer ever in the Knoxville Nationals. What a ride, what a drive, what a show.
Well, this thing's just fun to drive right here. It really works good. I don't know, but it's awful fast.
You know, you get out and ask your crew if there was any pressure on you. Let me tell you, there was. Nobody close.
Well, it's like I said, we've been running really good all year, and that damn Carl Kinser is tough.
Boy, he is. Uncle Carl, he had some horsepower in this thing, and you're both going to make a pretty nice bank deposit, a little over $30,000.
Yeah, that's not bad. We'll take it.
Okay. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve Kinser, what a sprint car driver. Let's go to Brock Yates with second place.
Oh, Bobby Davis Jr. out of the car. Bobby, good hard race for second. Good jump on the start, but then Steve just seemed to be able to drive away from everybody.
Well, I guess that motor's really running in that thing. It's been running all year, and well, you can see tonight, every lap, he just kept on going. You know, it's like running out on the expressway, and he just kept pulling and pulling.
Yeah, maybe that little yellow, you thought maybe always on a restart there's always a chance, but not tonight, huh?
Well, no, not really. Well, you always hope that, but there was about 5 or 6 lap cars in between us, and he had the line to get up top quick, and I had to kind of slide underneath him and catch the cushion coming off, and
the thing's just running.
Racetracks seem to be pretty good. There are a lot of everybody. You seem to be working high though. Most of the fast guys the grooves seem to work up a little bit.
Well, yeah, you know, you try to lean against the cushion as much as you can, you know, and try to save your tires. You try to go with the softest tires you could. And, but we felt good. We can run right through the middle, right around the bottom. We really felt pretty good everywhere.
Well, congratulations on super second place. I know it's been a long night.
Yeah, it has. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Now let's go to Steve for the third place finisher.
Thank you, Brock. And what a night it has been for the Kentzer clan. The crowd still cheering in the background. Mark, third place. A wonderful drive.
Thank you. I got Russ Ray and Jim Ray working on the car. We got a little help from Rich Taylor, and I'll tell you what, I'm really happy because this is a big thrill for me.
You didn't have it quite as easy as Steve. You were in some battles out there.
Oh, I'm telling you, me and Seals and me and Jeff Swindell, I tell you what, we went heads up for about 10 laps there, and it was just, you know, it was just rub and be rubbed, and just hope one of us come out on top and all of us finish.
The Kentzers 1-3 tonight at the biggest sprint car race of them all. Again, congratulations to the whole family.
Thank you.
I'll shake that hand. Okay, Brock.
Well, Steve, we'd like to thank everybody here in the great city of Knoxville, especially Grant Rankin, Ralph Capitani, and Dwayne Roebuck. We thank them for a sensational night of racing. For Steve Evans, I'm Brock Yates. Thanks for joining us.